All right, welcome to Nostalgicast, your weekly roundup of the best and most up-to-date nostalgic news where we discuss the stories and give our thoughts. I'm your host, who wants to know, which way did he go, George? Which way did he go? Andrew Price.
What happened to the Tyler Palo? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering Tyler Palo.
Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting Kelby Josephs. And Dad Beats, a.k.a. Kirk Pinchon.
Dad Beats!
That was Dad Beats.
I should have done that.
That's the only thing I could think of.
That. and that Kirk Pinchon. I stuttered the real thing.
Yeah.
I get it.
Oh my God, Tyler's better than you.
I always.
Damn.
Well, that's
at this one thing.
That's ableist because I highly related to Porky Pig when I was a kid because I had a really bad stutter that I had to get rid of.
Damn.
But you don't have a stutter now.
We got deep.
Well, I worked through it as a kid with a lot of effort, but I still have it. Stutters are like a psychological thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a physical disability. It's like a psychological thing where you get a feedback loop in your head.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to overcome a stutter, you have to like really think about what you're saying and like plan out what you're going to say. And you're always thinking like, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? And it's triggered by stressful situations and being put on the spot. So like sometimes I can just sit and just eloquently speak, no pausing, no stuttering, no like, but then sometimes in other situations, I just like cannot get words out. And it all depends on, whether I have like, whether I'm being put on the spot, whether I feel like I have like, the upper hand in a conversation, whether somebody's like sort of talking down to me or whatever. So I related to Porky Pig. Because
how you guys doing?
I couldn't fucking
He was like
talk when I was a kid.
really just unburying his soul.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're just like, can we get to the
as we
fucking show?
As we know, Kelby has no tolerance for people with disabilities.
Yeah.
I don't. How are you?
Well, he was just telling you how he was.
Yeah, man.
Highly
he's not-
insulted and offended.
Nope.
Nope. No, you're not.
You're not. You know why? I wanted to up the energy just a little tiny bit. I didn't want it to start on like
Because you just had candy?
because you said a joke and then it was like, oh damn, like I feel so bad for Andrew now that I'm like, you know what? Here's the energy a little bit. Tyler, how are you?
I don't know. I don't think you really need to. I mean, there's obviously worse things in the world than having a stutter. I don't think you really need to feel that bad for people with stutters. I mean, because I sort of
psychological.
I worked through it and sort of fixed it. But I worked with this guy who still just had a really bad stutter, and he kind of never was able to fix it. And when I worked with him at the time, he was probably in his 30s. And one time I noticed. Was at a movie theater, and customers in general can just always just be total pieces of shit, but especially at this theater because this was a dollar theater in a fucking janky ass part of Bakersfield, California. So it's like you have all these fucking just assholes who come and they're super entitled and they're just like, this is supposed to be the dollar theater. Why is it $1.50?
Are you doing Foghorn Leghorn?
That's Bakersfield.
Hold on a minute. That's our natural accent, and we work hard to get rid of it when we come here to Los Angeles.
That was very fitting.
But so people just were fucking assholes at this place. And so people would always complain about shit and they would get irate with the managers and things like that. And the other two of the managers would just people would just, come after them, just be really shitty to them. But I noticed that this guy that I worked with, who was one of the managers, I noticed that people were way nicer to him. And whenever people would have issues and when they would get all fucking entitled and mad and shit and they would ask to talk to a manager, if he was there and he was on duty, he would always immediately diffuse the situation and they would just end up like being like, oh, it's okay, because of his stutter. And I noticed like, oh, like when they talk to him, they come in like all fucking mad and being shitty. And then the moment that they start talking, they just immediately feel bad and start empathizing, and then it just diffuses the situation.
What makes you so upset at a dollar theater?
If you're an asshole?
No, but like, give me an example.
One woman, she spilled nacho cheese on the floor and then slipped in it, and then she sued the theater.
Wow.
I'm here for that.
Did they settle?
Yeah, they settled. We literally
Give her $1.
no, it's not even that far off. They settled. The movie theater paid her $200.
Wow.
After this protracted thing of her getting lawyers involved, they paid her $200. This is how petty this woman was.
They took it right from the cash register.
Yeah.
Man, just take
That cash register didn't have
The
$200
husband
at
of
the time.
that, the husband of that lady.
that's 200 tickets.
These two people were just total pieces of shit. The husband of that lady, he got mad because his card, his rewards card, was not scanning properly. So he couldn't get his like points on it, and it was his fault because his card was all shitty and like banged up, and the magnetic strip just like wasn't working from being in his wallet. And he got super mad that we just couldn't get the points on his card, and it literally devolved to him being like, "I want my points! I want my points!" Just screaming in the lobby, and like 3 people around him just trying to like calm him down.
And then the guy came out with his stutter, and he was just like, "Wow, all right."
Here's your point.
I know
Right,
that you're
that's
trying to. I know that what you're trying to do right now is like argue in favor of customers because you.
That is not.
But like
That's not what I'm saying.
these
I
people
just
are
wanted to know.
objectively fucking.
I
pieces
just
of
wanted to
shit.
know what, like, how bad could it be? Because I've never had an issue at a dollar theater, so I was just wondering, like, what could potentially. But at the same time, did the lady fall and break something?
No, she just slipped. She spilled the cheese and then she slipped in it,
Oh,
and she didn't get.
it was an Oprah fall.
Yeah, it was just like she
Alright,
fell on
got
the
it.
ground. It was just something that I would do and then just never think another moment about it and
I
walk
see.
away.
I see.
I
I get it.
Another person. This one time. This 2 quick things.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, from you? 2 quick. Let's just call it what it is. 2 medium long things.
No, 3 quick things.
Okay.
One
gotta-
quick thing, 2 medium
I
long
gotta
things.
tell these stories.
Oh my god.
So one time, at the movie theater, if there was a box office, but most movie theaters do this. If it's not busy on like a regular weekday or whatever, there's no reason to have a dedicated person in the box office because there's just not many people coming and buying tickets. So you move the ticket sales inside to the concession stand. So people are working the concession stand also selling the tickets. So the box office is left unattended, and there's a sign on it that says, tickets are sold inside. But customers would never notice that sign. So what we did was we had this giant standing sign printed and created that would sit next to the box office, next to the front door. This sign that was like this, like, the size, like, half of my height, huge letters, tickets sold inside. And this was next to the door. So one time we were standing inside on a regular day, there was nobody around, and some people had like congregated up to the front of the box office. We're just kind of standing there. And then this guy, and this was one of the funniest, most ironic visual images I've ever seen. This guy leans into the door because the box office is right next to the front door. He leans into the door. So I'm looking at this from my perspective. A guy leans into the door. He is standing next to this sign. So there's a person standing next to a giant sign that says tickets sold inside. He's wearing a shirt that says CSI can't stand idiots. And he goes, is somebody gonna come out here and help us? It was one of the funniest visual things I've ever seen in my life. I immediately started laughing out loud, and then he was just confused. And then we were like, "Oh, the tickets are sold inside." One time, this woman came in. This was a second run theater, so this is like one of those movie theaters where like 3 months after a movie comes out in theaters, we get it, and then you get the ticket for $1.50 or whatever. So this woman
should be $1 flat.
Yeah. It's not the dollar theater is a colloquial term that people call them as, but it's not a dollar theater. So there was this second run theater, and then a block up the road was a real movie theater, like a first run. And so one day this woman comes in and she's like, "I want a ticket for I forget what it was. It was some movie that had just come out in regular theaters." And she was like, I need one ticket for Fast and the Furious 5. And we were like, "Oh yeah, that movie just came out. We're not playing that." And she's like, "Yeah, it's out." And we're like, "Yeah, it's out, but we're a second run theater, so we don't get movies until they've been out for like 3 months or whatever." And she's like, "No, it's out. You're playing it." And we're like, "No, we're not playing it. Like it just came out in theaters, so we're not going to get it until like 3 months from now." And she's like, "I looked on your website and it had showings." And we were like, "Oh, that happens sometimes. Like a frequent issue is that people will check movietickets.com, and movietickets.com is not run or approved by the theaters. So sometimes they have like inaccurate times. And she's like, no, I went on your website and it had times. And we were just like, well, I don't really know why or what that means, but like we definitely don't have the movie because it just came out in theaters. And she's like, no, you don't understand. You're mistaken. You have the movie. I checked on your website. And then she pulled it out and showed it to us. And it was for the Maya Cinema, the real first run movie theater up the road. It was their website. And we were like, oh, this is Maya. They're like a couple blocks up. And then she was just like, and this like she up until this point, she was so like angry and like, you are wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. And the moment this happened, she's got super flustered and was like, oh, well, and she was like trying to find a reason to like be mad about it.
Yeah,
but like,
she's like, how can I say
there was
this?
no way for her to logically pin this on us or whatever. So she's like, oh, well, the site, she just kind of said something incomprehensible and stormed out. And then one time this woman walked into the concession stand. She walked up to me. I'm standing there. And then she just stares at me with this blank zombie face. And I'm just like, I don't even know what's happening. So I'm just like, I just kind of stare back at her. And I'm just like, can I help you? And then she just stares at me with this zombie face. And I'm just like super feeling awkward. And I'm just like, And then she like breaks character and goes, you know, when somebody's trying to like joke around with you, it's good to have like a sense of humor. And then she just walked away. And she got super mad, but she got really embarrassed, but turned it into anger that I didn't like play along with whatever she was doing. And I was just like, what just fucking happened?
I think she thought you were shutting her down. Like, I'm not here for this. Where you were just like, what's going on?
Number one, what's going on? Number two, from a perspective of an employee,
Yeah.
I'm not going to assume that somebody's making a joke.
Yeah.
When they could be mentally impaired. They could
Yeah.
have some kind of handicap. Like, I'm not going to go out on a ledge and just assume like, yeah, this is a bit. That you're standing there staring at me with like a blank stare on your face, looking like a zombie.
Yeah. Like if you had gone, ah ha ha, nice bit. She'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about, dummy?
That was her version of like, oh, you'd look better if you smiled.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it was. And this has been another edition of Andrew's Tales from the Battlefield of Retail. Before we get to the stories, just a quick update on a couple of things we've talked about in the past. So we've talked a little bit about the Ballad of the Back to the Future remake, the deep fake video that came out with Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr.'s face. And what Bob Gale said about a remake, the cancelable, problematic comments that Kelby had in response to that. And so now Tom Holland has gotten into the fold, and he has said that conversations have been had about a Back to the Future remake starring Tom Holland as Marty McFly. He said conversations have taken place behind the scenes. Recently, a deepfake video put Holland and his Marvel Cinematic Universe co-star Robert Downey Jr. into the SyFy classic as Marty McFly and Doc Brown. The sparked conversation about the two starring in a new version, which is apparently something that was already being explored. Fear not, though, movie fans, as Holland has no interest in treading on sacred ground. He said in an interview, I'd be lying if I said there hadn't been conversations in the past about doing some sort of remake, but that film is the most perfect film, or one of the most perfect films, one that could never be made better. So I find it really fascinating that this, of all movies, is just universally like, everybody is just like, we're not touching that.
Yeah, it's pretty sacred ground.
It's this weird thing where like this movie out of everything, like they'll fucking resurrect James Dean and make him a star of a new movie, but nobody will fucking touch this movie. And it's so fascinating to me that this movie in particular, like they've remade Straw Dogs.
Oh God, they did. Holy shit.
With James Marsden.
That was horrible.
What?
Straw Dogs is a movie from 1970, in the 70s, starring Dustin Hoffman. It's Sam.
Is it a war movie?
No.
Oh.
It is a tormented, psychological, awful home invasion movie. Awful in the sense that it's way fucking tense.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Home Alone references it.
Oh really?
Yeah, he's like, this is my home. I must protect it. That's from Straw Dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think everyone just loves that fucking movie, no matter how old you are, no matter what decade you grew up. People just go, I love this movie.
It's a timing thing too. It's definitely a timing thing. Like I said before, the future is not all that hot looking. The past, I don't think too many people want to go in the past. So it's just like back in those times when it was like, this future seems great. The past felt good. it was this like moment of ignorance. It was all good, but to go back and do that, there's so many things that you'd have to
Acknowledge.
Yeah, that
Now,
a fun movie like that just
Now-
You couldn't do it.
to be fair,
To be fair.
don't.
when Back to the Future came out, the future wasn't looking too bright for everybody at that time either, because it was at the height of the Cold War. So everyone was thinking that we were going to be wiped off the face of the map
What year
by a
was that?
nuclear bomb.
There was 84.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little rough times.
84. What was the second one?
When was the second movie?
Okay.
89?
yeah. Well, the first movie came out in 86.
Oh, was it
okay.
86?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Set in
That's right.
1985, came out in 1986.
That's correct.
I
That's
just-
correct.
you wouldn't be able to convey the same optimism they had about the future to nowadays, because people go for realism instead. They would love to show a Back to the Future where they go into a dystopian future instead of the technological haven that it was in 2015.
Should have voted for Al Gore.
We did.
I mean, we definitely should have voted for.
We did.
That happened.
I believe you did. How old were you when Al Gore was running?
Good guy.
No, I mean, that was the whole thing.
Oh,
That was the whole
okay.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bush
Yeah.
won.
He
'cause
won the
sa-
popular vote and got swindled out of it.
It's
Yeah.
weird how that's how Republicans seem to win.
Oh boy,
Didn't. All right.
You're going to make Kelby mad.
I know.
it's my people, man. Too.
He's gonna make over $1 million this year. He's hurt.
Lizzie McGuire drama continued. So we've talked about the Lizzie McGuire thing, the Ballad of the Lizzie McGuire reboot.
Nuts.
So last we talked about it, they went into production on it, got shut down by Disney. They fired the creator / showrunner of the show. They're over creative differences.
You remember his name?
It was a woman.
It was a woman.
It's Terry Minsky.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And basically the issue is that Terry Minsky and also Hilary Duff, who has kind of like a large stake in the creative direction of the show, I think she's like a producer on it, we're wanting to take it as like into this direction of like, this is like a real look at like what Lizzie McGuire would be doing in her 30s. And Disney wanted more of a like family friendly, like this is just a reboot of like a, Fuller House type thing. And they couldn't come to an agreement on that. So now after that fact, there's been some shade thrown where like Hilary Duff has said some like thrown some vague shade at Disney about this.
You saw her Instagram post?
Yeah.
Sing to me, Disney.
And ultimately, Terry Minsky wrote this thing about how she thinks that they should move Lizzie McGuire over to Hulu and let it just be kind of a more adult thing. And Hilary Duff seconded that. So now that it's at the stage where the showrunner has been fired, but she's like really kind of come out and said like move it to Hulu and just make it the way that Hillary wants to make it, because I guess Hilary Duff is like really driving the sort of idea behind the show. But ultimately it's just still in limbo, and they haven't really decided what they're going to do with
I
it.
think we talked about this, but let's bring it back real quick. Totally fine for seeing that type for that take on Lizzie McGuire. Sure, that's interesting. Are there people clamoring for that? I think I brought this up before, but are people like, yeah, let her do it her way she wants and put it on Hulu? Come on. Is there some outswell?
I don't think so. I think
Not a soul.
I think this is somebody who created like, I mean, I think people do. I think a lot of kids have a lot of nostalgia for Lizzie McGuire, but I think this is like an example of somebody who created like kind of just a fairly decent, mediocre, kind of liked kid show, just like wanting to like push it to be this more real artistic thing, both from the showrunner's perspective and Hilary Duff's, of just like, I think it's Hilary Duff trying to get her foot in the door of doing something that would be respected.
Yeah, which you can't fall for. It's a good idea.
But I don't think that anybody I don't think anybody's looking for that from Lizzie McGuire.
That's what I feel. And I also feel that
I kind of like weirdly side with Disney on this, of like, normally I'd be like, fuck the censorship, let them do this thing in this way. But like, I kind of side with Disney on this of just like, I think everyone just kind of wants Lizzie McGuire as a fun reboot throwback thing.
Yeah, I normally wouldn't side with the corporation, but I do see the like, hey, read the room. It's Disney. Of course, they're going to want this family-friendly kind of Fuller House. They're not going to want Lizzie all grown up. Don't you?
Lizzie all grown up.
That was the name of the working title. They didn't use it.
Yeah.
I pitched it to them. They didn't like it. It's fine. It's fine.
Kelby, tweet them right now. Let them know that they were wrong.
Oh, wait. Let them know that you're available to direct.
Oh yeah.
This show is never gonna happen. So I'm not gonna waste my tweet. But I will say this: in what direction could Lizzie McGuire possibly go into on Hulu that it couldn't go into on Disney Plus? Is it gonna just all of a sudden turn into This Is Us or something like that, or is the first scene a sex scene?
No, I think it's more
just don't
like
get it.
I would see more like kind of like an Ally McBeal take, where she's an urban professional, but she can't find love, but she's really smart, and it's hard to be a woman these days. And it's just not bad.
I'm assuming from everything I read that they're like trying to take it in the direction of the like limited run reboot that they did of Gilmore Girls,
Oh, okay.
where it's kind of like her as an adult kind of like dealing with a lot of failure. Like that's kind of what I didn't watch it.
I would love to see that.
But what I read about the Gilmore Girls reboot that they did was that it was kind of about her, like things didn't quite pan out the way that she wanted them to, and then just kind of coping and dealing with a lot of failure. That's like what they and I feel like that's kind of what they were trying to do.
see
with
that.
It
this.
needs to go way more in the direction of girls.
I see what you're saying.
Like, if you really are fighting that hard for it to be this realistic thing, it needs to be like something crazy. When we see, we like, damn, Hillary, that's
Like she's
wild.
maxed out on her credit cards. She's drinking a lot.
Yeah,
Just like bad decisions with dating.
yeah, something crazy.
We got a moment.
How would you guys feel if Lizzie came out of the closet?
Yeah.
I think it'd be
that's really
good for
interesting.
representation.
That might be the thing.
Yeah.
That might be the thing.
They already got
Um,
Raven. We good. I like Hillary.
I don't
No,
think
like that.
anybody wants Raven though. So
What? Chill, bro. I love
Raven wasn't gay.
She is gay.
now
The
she is.
actress
The
is,
actress
but the character wasn't.
She's not.
Oh wait, is the character in the new show not gay?
I thought she was.
Oh, I thought they made. I
What?
thought they. No, they didn't. Oh, okay.
Raven, yeah,
Oh.
Raven. They didn't
Oh.
make Raven
Wait,
gay.
never mind.
That would have
Is
been
it-
way
oh.
bigger news.
Is there a new Raven show?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Home.
Raven's home.
Yeah.
Oh, Raven's home.
Raven's home.
What
I never
what
watched
platform
it,
is
but-
that on?
It's on Disney.
It's on
something.
Disney.
Oh.
But again, bringing that up, that's exactly what I don't want from this new. I'm sure that it's exactly what they want from the new Lizzie McGuire, but they ruined Girl Meets World, the reboot of Boy Meets World. It's fucking terrible. The only parts of it that are even remotely good are the fan service parts where they bring everyone back so you get to see like where they're going or what they're doing in the new world. I want Lizzie McGuire to just
Be Lena Dunham.
be Lena Dunham, yeah. No, I want Hillary Duff to be able to just show us what she means.
Man, Hillary Duff essentially is saying,
Show us what you got.
I have enough money. Raven said, cut the check. I'll be there. Hillary said, yo, look, I actually care. I have enough money. I'm selling perfume. We good. So
You want to know my hot take on That So Raven? Without fail, every single premonition
I know what you're gonna
that
say.
she has about something bad happening, she causes it to happen by trying to prevent it from happening.
Right.
All she has to do is just, when she has the visions, just ignore them.
Just go
And
sit
she would
down.
never have another problem for the rest of her life.
I don't
That's
think
kind of mental illness.
It's hard to ignore visions.
I think
Fact.
I
think you're
can't.
wrong. I think
That's literally
the moment she stopped ignoring them, that's what becomes the catalyst for those visions happening.
No, every episode, the whole thing that happens is, as the episode goes on, the twist of every episode is like, oh, I made that happen by what I did.
Right, but her stopping to try to prevent them doesn't prevent the premonitions from happening. And the premonitions have proven to always come true, which means even if she tried to stop preventing
But
them,
the only
And
reason why they
happen
always
through
come
different
It
for
would-
different reasons.
the premonition she sees would be the result of her not acting against whatever premonition
It's gonna
she saw.
happen.
The
You
only
just
reason why
don't know
the-
the context of how it's gonna happen.
The only reason why the
Also, she was
premonitions
looking
come
fly.
true is because it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's
Right,
like,
but
it's a
but
causal loop.
That's the whole idea, is that they're always self-fulfilling. So the idea that
But
you
we've
don't
never
do anything
seen,
to
we've
stop
never
it is
seen
the
her
idea.
just try not doing anything.
That's true. I agree. We haven't seen that, but that's what I think would happen. Is they would just happen because she didn't do anything.
It would happen. The context would be different. That's all that would happen. But she was looking good in every episode. The outfits was fly.
Chelsea looked better.
Well, even if that's the case, which I don't think so. I think you're filling in
pushing
some
it.
logic that was never established on the show. But even if that's true, if it's going to happen either way, then she might as well not do anything.
Right, I agree. I agree. I'm always a fan of not doing anything versus doing something.
her rap career was fierce.
Was it?
She wasn't a rapper.
Raven Simone?
She was a singer.
I know.
No, she rapped.
I know she did
when she
Double
was a little
Dutch
girl.
Bus.
She rapped.
Yeah.
Hey, sing the song.
I can't remember.
Featuring Flava Flav.
Not yet.
I
But no,
thought she
like
was
when
a
she was like
singer.
way little,
Yeah.
she did like a little like rap. Like, oh, isn't this cute? She's little Raven Simone doing a rap.
She was it.
Yeah.
I know the
Kylo
show has
Pratt.
been irrevocably ruined for reasons that are
This show?
obvious. No, the Cosby Show.
Oh,
But Raven Simone being brought in as a like, let's revitalize the show with a cute kid.
Mm.
It's literally the only time in history that worked.
I wouldn't disagree.
No.
I would not disagree.
They had Orlando Brown in Family Matters, and that worked pretty well. Richie.
I don't.
Orlando Brown wasn't
would-
also on Cosby Show.
Would you tag
No.
that as the cute kid? Because Raven Simone was just.
Oh,
like,
she took over.
Yeah.
because she was not only cute, she was like sassy a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
she was
mean,
precocious.
but good, yeah, good.
Good word.
I know words.
So we have a couple new details about the Mulan remake and the reasons for some of the changes that they made.
Mhm.
So
Lay it
number,
on us.
so number one, we now know why we ain't biting no more butts.
Oh.
Why there's no Mushu in the movie.
Oh.
The fact that you didn't get that just shows that you don't deserve to be on this podcast.
It's the way you said it.
Capitalist. Oh yeah. Do the Eddie Murphy
Yeah,
voice.
dude.
I ain't biting no more butts.
Oh, for Mulan?
I tried to do the Eddie Murphy laugh and it really backfired.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's not it.
So 1,000 cries of protest erupted from the internet when it was announced last year that everyone's favorite sassy dragon sidekick, Mushu, would not be included in the live-action remake of Mulan. With many of the remakes being close to carbon copies of the animated original, it was fully expected the audience would get to see Mushu brought to life, perhaps with photorealistic CGI. But alas, the makers of the new Mulan have stated that he will be left out completely. Producer Jason Reed has now clarified the reasoning behind this somewhat controversial decision. He said, "Obviously, Mushu is a beloved character and one of the most memorable of the animated film. In the animated film. Turns out that the traditional Chinese audience did not particularly think that was the best interpretation of the dragon in their culture. That the dragon is a sign of respect and a strength of strength and power, and sort of using it as a silly sidekick did not play well with the traditional Chinese audience. I have never been more morally torn on a piece of news before because
never.
I fully support the idea of being more respectful for people's cultures and not appropriating things in an offensive way.
Mhm.
But I heavily resent the way that the movie industry panders to Chinese audiences in order to not have the government shut down a movie and not allow it to be played in that country because it's the biggest film market in the world right now. This is a huge problem that's been happening for, it's been slowly ramping up for the last 5 years as like China has really taken over dominance in the film market. And now it's like movie studios like actively pander to them and like cave to pressure of like taking things out of movies and adding things to movies just to keep the Chinese government happy. And I really hate it. So it's like it's really torn on this because it's like, yeah, I get that. Like that's a legit thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like you're not doing it to be respectful. You're actually doing it because you just don't want to get the Chinese government angry so that your movie gets played in the country.
Let's throw it to Kelby right now. Go.
Well, I don't.
What trash take are you going to have on this?
I actually don't think that it has that much, but that much to do with the government, only because of the other piece of news as far as why they left another character out of the movie. And it seems like they are not just pandering to the Chinese government, they're just pandering to everyone.
Yeah.
To me, it's just like they're just trying to make a potentially problematic film way less problematic and just kind of make a new movie and just say, hey, it's Mulan, so that you have the idea of, the IP of Mulan in your head so that it could help with the sales. But for the most part, it's just a different movie.
It's not a different movie.
It
so
is.
It's
not a different movie.
It's
absolutely
totally
a different movie.
Totally different.
Same characters. They're doing the same war.
Nope. I mean,
No.
it's
They're not doing
no.
the same war.
No,
it's not
They're
the
not
same
doing-
characters. That's
Who's the lead?
That's the next
Who's
part.
the lead? What's the name of the lead?
some gal.
What's the name of the lead?
She's a
Fa-
beautiful-
No, what's the name of the
Mulan.
character's lead?
Mulan.
Mulan? Is it named Mulan?
That
No,
is
it's
that is
That's
like
not the
that is an
same
absurd argument.
The lead is named Mulan.
I'm trying to.
She's playing a character who pretends to be a man fighting in a war.
Wait a second.
That doesn't mean
Is
that.
that the movie from the animated?
That's
Yes,
the animated movie.
and that's the same as this movie.
They're different. It's
Is
almost
that the
like
same
saying-
plot? Is that the same plot?
Oh
It's
my
a yes or
gosh.
no question.
Not the same.
But
Is
that
it the
doesn't
same
matter
plot?
though. That's a
Why does it
straw
not
man
matter?
argument.
How's it a straw man?
Because that's just
argument?
an elevator pitch. A piece of art is not about its simplified concept. It's about its execution.
We're talking
Yeah.
about plot. It's the same
No,
plot.
in the way that
But it's
in
the
the way that
same
Lion
plot.
King is Hamlet, that's the same thing. In the way that this is a new movie under
because
the same
it doesn't
name as
have a
Mulan.
dragon.
No, because it doesn't.
doesn't get it.
It's not the same.
You guys just want butts bitten.
You don't get it.
That's all you want.
Hold on a second, because
There's
there's another piece
another
of this
piece.
news that just drastically.
It
Yes.
doesn't because I know that because
Change.
I'm the one that reads the outline.
I sent
That
So the second part of this is let's get down to business, but in a professional way where nobody is made to feel uncomfortable. I took some harassment training,
there it is.
and now I know how to handle situations in a. I don't know. I
Wow.
bailed out of it.
God,
You
that
know
was
what?
close.
you were going there, and then it kind of faltered, and then you went
Yeah.
forward again, and then you're like, "Fuck this."
Yeah.
yeah.
So another change that was explained. So the general of the army that Mulan joins, Li Shang, voiced by his singing voice was Donny Osmond, but I don't know if his speaking voice was Donny Osmond
Oh.
That.
in the animated movie. They've basically gotten rid of that character and they've split it into two characters. So there's the general of the army that's played by my boy Donnie Yen.
Yeah, he's great.
And if you are familiar with Donnie Yen, pop in any one of the Eat Man films and just get ready to fucking have your mind blown.
It's not pronounced Eep, is it?
Yes.
Yes,
It's.
they're great
Good
movies.
to
What
know,
were
good
you
to-
saying?
I was just saying IP man.
Oh boy.
That's a different thing.
Intellectual property
Yeah.
guy.
BD Wong.
BD Wong's amazing.
So he's playing the general, which is the general's name has been changed. Stupid. I forget what the fucking general's name is, but he has become more of a father figure.
Mhm.
And then they have a different character who is like one of her like fellow soldiers,
Age appropriate.
who that person becomes the love interest.
Great idea. Love it.
So they changed it, and so the quote on this from the same producer. This is I'm assuming this is from the same interview. He said, "I think particularly in the time of the Me Too movement, having a commanding officer that is also the sexual love interest was very unfortunate, and we didn't think it was appropriate. And we thought that in a lot of ways that it was sort of justifying behavior that we're doing everything we can to get out of our industry. So they didn't want to have a situation where, there was like a sexual relationship, which is kind of a weird way to say that because it's like, was there
They fell in love.
was there a sexual relationship in this Disney movie?
They
But
fell in
also
love.
not until after she was out of the army and he had no control over her situation.
Yeah, but it's still a real old guy with a younger woman.
He wasn't.
In the
real
movie he wasn't
old.
real
Well, not
old.
real old.
In the
but-
movie
You don't
he was basically like a 25-year-old general after his father died. I
and
believe.
she was younger.
I believe she was 18, but she wasn't like. I mean,
We're not sure.
I see you side eyeing.
Yeah, but
Was it
anyway,
good?
so they didn't think
Did
they
it do
didn't
okay?
they didn't want to have a character. They didn't want to have a situation in a movie. And I actually I get this because
Yeah.
I feel like it would just read way differently in a live action movie
Exactly.
with real people.
Yes. In animation,
than it
you're
did
like,
in the
that's
animation.
fine. In the live
That's
action, like,
probably
ooh,
fair.
that's weird.
That's
But they didn't
fair.
want to have a situation where there was a character sort of in a like leadership role that had like a romantic relationship with like one of his like employees or
Yeah.
whatever, quote unquote. And so they changed it to where the general is just a father figure, and then there's a different character who is at her level who is the love interest.
and it works well.
gotcha.
I love it. I'm still
It
putting
works. You've seen it?
Well, no, just in my head.
He's seen
It's going to make money.
He told.
Obviously, it's going to make money.
It's gonna be a
To
hit.
make these choices.
It's going to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
great. I have $1 bet with anyone who says this won't be a hit.
It's gonna be a hit. And
$1.
Probably the movie is gonna be really good.
I mean,
but they should just. They honestly, fine, call it Mulan, but call it Mulan something.
No, it's
Mulan-
about Mulan.
No, Call it
Yeah.
Mulan.
It's about Mulan.
Revenge
It's
of
the
the
same story.
Sith or whatever. Call it something else. But I get it. Attach Mulan. but
Mulan
add
from the Book
something.
of Saw.
There you go.
Add
something. To
My
it,
question
'cause
is:
it's not
is there
Mulan.
still
It's
going to be the
Mulan.
matchmaking part in the beginning? Because that's not only one of the funniest things, but also like a catalyst for another reason she doesn't want to be a part of that part of society. Is that going to be another driving force for why she doesn't feel like she fits in?
Plus, there's
Probably.
a witch.
I hope
some kind
so.
of witch in there.
That's one of the biggest things that makes me go, it's not Mulan.
It's just.
It's not Mulan.
There's another movie that's just like this, but it's maybe like Pocahontas or something like that, and like a Brothers Grimm type take. You
Don't
getting
know.
it? And there's
I
like
mean,
a.
I don't know.
I don't know what any of that meant.
I'm having a stroke. What's Pocahontas' love interest name?
John Smith.
John Smith.
That's way problematic.
Isn't there? Oh boy, isn't there another movie with John Smith, but it's like a different take of Mulan?
Well, I mean,
I'm sorry, Pocahontas.
I don't know about that. I all I know is that in real life, number one, John Smith was like 30,
Yeah.
and Pocahontas was 13.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And number two, the real story was just wildly different. Like the colonizers came in and like they fucking brought all kinds of disease into the tribe, and it just didn't happen at all the way it did in the movie. So if there's some kind of more realistic interpretation of Pocahontas that's out there, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think I've heard of whatever you're talking about.
But the reason why I bring it up is because I don't think it was called Pocahontas. Like she may have been in the movie, but they're telling it from a different perspective, and this is what they're doing with Mulan. They're telling the story of quote unquote Mulan, but just through a totally different lens, and they're only putting the name Mulan there so that Kirk can be happy and so he can get his residual check.
I was in Mulan.
Yeah,
You were in the
don't
room.
play.
Was
Don't
I
play.
good?
You were in the room.
God, I hope I was good.
They were like, "How about we make the exact same movie?" And Kirk was like, "However."
One
Yeah,
moment, please.
Kirk was the speaking voice of the general.
Yeah.
But when they heard him sing, they were just like, "Let's get Donnie in."
Yeah, because Kirk can't hit them notes.
Let's get Andrew in here.
Oh, interesting.
Uh-huh.
Donnie Osmond was the singing voice.
Mhm.
Donnie Yen
Oh,
is playing him now in the
yeah.
live action version.
Sick.
That's something.
How do you guys feel? Tweet us at
At the Nostalgicast.
the Nostalgicast and let us know how you feel.
How do you feel about this? You want to bite some butts?
No,
That's crazy.
and make sure you tweet it on Twitter, according to Kelby.
Yeah, is this movie a hit, or is it going to bring shame upon your cow? I had to get one in.
I just want to know if that cricket's going to be in it.
I hope not.
What do you have against crickets?
They've wronged me. I don't know.
It's
feel
not
like-
an accurate
I feel like
portrayal
Mulan.
of crickets.
Yeah, I feel like you want every fantastical element to be stripped out of the movie. Like you would like
No, I'm good with the witch.
I don't know.
I'm good with it.
Trash.
So we've talked about this before on the show several episodes back, but there was a Spawn movie that was in development, and then it sort of got like indefinitely shelved because so Todd McFarlane, he is a comic book artist and writer, one of the founders of Image Comics, which is arguably one of the biggest comic book companies in the world. It's basically regarded either slightly under Marvel and DC or even alongside them as like the top 3 comic book companies. He co-founded it. He's the creator of Spawn. He is a businessman. He is one of the very few comic book artists in history that has really like been able to take ownership over his own creations and actually make a ton of money and benefit off of comics that he has created, because he's just a very smart businessman. He has a lot of creative control over his characters, such as Spawn, and he really doesn't want to relinquish any of that or compromise, or he wants to do everything exactly the way he wants to do it. So he's struggled to get funding for this movie because the movie went into development, people were excited about it, but I think as kind of things went along, the investors and the studios that he was working with kind of just slowly realized like, oh, this guy is not going to compromise with us. He just wants to do this exactly the way that he wants to do it. He wants to do this dark, hard R, super gory thing, And so he slowly kind of lost investors, and the movie kind of just like languished into indefinite
developmental hell.
Developmental hell. But now there's been a development on this, which was kind of alluded to. We talked about it several episodes ago, that Todd McFarlane basically came out and said that, after the success and hype of Joker, that there was renewed interest in the Spawn movie. And now he's come out and said that, so he said in an interview recently, he said, everybody in Hollywood wants an R-rated dark comic book movie, and Spawn is at the top of their list. The phone calls are coming in fast and rapid. I've been talking to a couple of Academy Awards people. I've got the investors getting lined up. It's changed ever since the Joker, from being me begging them to do Spawn dark and creepy to them asking. So I'm telling you, it will happen this year, and I will direct it.
There was a Spawn movie.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, in the 90s.
It was
it's
amazing.
Michael Jai White was Spawn.
That's
So
it sucked,
good.
right?
I mean, I loved Spawn.
I can't remember it.
I saw it multiple times in theaters. It was like one of my earliest memories of seeing like a rated R movie in theaters. I loved it.
Was it a hit?
I don't think it was.
Not
No.
really.
Okay.
Is the clown John Leguizamo?
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
so
yeah.
fucking good.
That's
and the
right.
president is, or the real villain, other than the devil, of course, is one of the Estevez's.
Is it?
Or it's the dad.
Martin Sheen?
I think it's Martin Sheen.
I'm kind of drawing
pretty sure it's Martin Sheen.
blank on who
In the
bad
entire
guy
thing.
I
was.
just
fan-
remember that John Leguizamo was in it.
Fantastic.
I remember seeing that and then have not thought about it until this came up. So I can't remember if that was actually a hit or not.
Yeah,
Martin Sheen.
So John
Martin Sheen. Gotcha.
Oh, okay, yeah. So John Leguizamo played the Violator, and Martin Sheen played Jason Wynn.
Did Todd McFarlane direct that one?
No, but he was like, he's
okay.
credited as a writer, but it's just because he created the characters. But the screenwriter was Alan B. McElroy, but he was heavily involved with it
How much money did it make?
because he owns the character and he has sort of creative control over it.
That's very on brand, Kelby. And wait, who directed it?
Mark A.Z. Dippe.
Okay. I don't know who that is.
Love his work.
You really do love his work?
I know. He
don't know
Mark
jokes.
A.Z. Dippe. Oh, you love his work. He directed Halloween Town High.
That's a good movie, man. Wait, is that the one they didn't put Marnie in? The
Yeah.
real Marnie? It was
Yeah.
still alright. It was kind of legit.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only movie he ever really directed. He directed that, and then like he directed a bunch of just like made for TV stuff.
He did Pixel Perfect.
Yeah, he did Pixel Perfect. He did
by my
Halloween
guy,
Town
Neil-
High.
Neil Schusterman.
He directed a bunch of Garfield like straight to video things. Yeah,
I
he
hate
didn't.
to say this, but Pixel Perfect is whack.
I don't give a shit what you have to say because Pixel Perfect was amazing, and it made me feel things.
He was my first. That guy who wrote Pixel Perfect. I think I told you that he was my first mentor. My first writing.
Oh yeah,
mentor.
you did tell me that.
Mhm.
Was he a cool guy?
Very good, very very good guy.
on a $40 million budget. It made $87 million worldwide.
That's not bad.
That means it made back at least its production budget, right?
Mm.
Yeah. That's also in
Marketing.
90s dollars too. So
That's true.
$90.
Yeah, back in the day when hitting $100 million was like, damn. that's
Yeah.
crazy.
so I guess that's pretty good.
Yeah,
We
moderate.
all used Jeffrey dollars back then.
Yeah, it's a Toys R Us thing.
So Todd McFarlane's going to direct this one.
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
it looks like it's gonna happen.
You want to see it?
Yeah.
You, Tyler?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always for Spawn. Make it a female though. Make it a female.
I was gonna say. You wanna see Jamie Foxx?
Is Spawn Marvel or DC?
Image.
Oh, make it Tessa Thompson.
Kirk?
Probably not because I'm not into that kind of thing. But I'm.
Jamie
Fun.
Foxx is gonna play Spawn.
Oh, is he?
It's
That's-
already
yeah.
a thing.
Oh,
He
I like
said
that too.
He was gonna do it
Oh,
like
that makes me
2
more
years ago,
interested.
2 or 3 years.
That could
ago.
be fun.
But he's also a little old now.
Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
I mean, Spawn.
He doesn't look it though.
He can be
Spawn's
older.
eternal.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
not like a young
He's
guy.
forever young.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll check it out.
Nickelodeon is producing a Squidward show.
Don't do this.
Don't do this. Yeah.
Viacom CBS confirmed today during the company's fourth quarter 2019 earnings call, Nickelodeon is producing a SpongeBob spinoff for Netflix. They said Nickelodeon is the #1 kids brand. The reality is our linear platform only reaches 40% of kids today, but we can reach beyond that. So what we are doing as an example with Nick is we're putting a spin-off of SpongeBob on Netflix that will drive direct earnings, but also connect these characters with new fans, benefiting the franchise and related businesses like consumer products or future theatrical films. So yeah, they're going to do a Squidward show for Netflix.
This ain't it.
This is gonna be depressing as shit.
Very.
Yeah.
I truly don't give a fuck, but I'm really curious about why. Just because of your childhoods, it was SpongeBob was the best, and this
No.
is ruining it.
That's not it.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
SpongeBob was never my favorite.
Okay,
But it
I
was,
was okay
hilarious.
with SpongeBob.
so why is Squidward spinoff bad?
It's just one of those. It's like who
Gives a
Who
shit?
wants
yeah,
that?
Okay,
Also,
okay.
his role in the show, he's like Saul Goodman in Breaking Bad, where it's like he has his moments and he shines in those moments.
I mean, that's a bad example.
That is a bad example. That is a horrible
I'm
example.
gonna rectify that by saying
Better Call
yes,
Saul was arguably better than Breaking Bad.
all right.
Mindset.
But before Better Call Saul came out, there was this idea that like he played his role so well, so we don't know how well it's gonna hold up. So when Squidward is on SpongeBob, he's the depressing one. He never wants to be there. He doesn't want to hang out with Sponge. He thinks he's annoying. So it's like there's a possibility this could be a good show, just like Better Call Saul. But for the most part, where I'm sitting right now, it's like, who wants to see a crabby, angry guy for 22 minutes? You know,
Okay.
he's just
I
annoying.
mean, I'll have over a decade of Curb Your Enthusiasm fans to disagree with that.
Can I try a comparison? It's like Joni and Chachi on Happy Days.
Yeah, but nobody wants Joni Loves Chachi.
Yeah, in like as the leads.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You said Better Call Saul is
Also,
better than
fuck
Breaking
Scott
Bad.
Baio.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
made the same
exactly.
exact face when he said that too. We both looked into the camera.
It objectively, or not objectively, it in my opinion, Better Call Saul, the first couple seasons were much stronger than the first couple seasons of Breaking Bad.
Are you that way because you like the idea that it gave? Oh,
I say it's a tie.
that's
I'm going to be real shitty.
Really?
I'm gonna be shitty and be like, I like them equally. I
Are
think
you-
they're both great.
are you
The
just
first
happier
season
with
got
the
me.
fact that you can
I
explore
loved
this
it.
single character over the entire thing?
I just think it was a better show. It's not about the concept.
Oh.
It's about the fact, like literally, you have somebody who created 5 seasons of this television show. They had 5 seasons, 6 years to really learn those characters, learn that world, improve their craft, and then they just made another show with all those learnings. The pilot episode of Better Call Saul was a fucking masterpiece.
I hated it.
I also hated it. But also knowing, I don't understand. I
mean, you guys
Yeah.
are just wrong.
Why, you
I mean,
hate it.
whether or not, like, okay, whatever. It's better. It's what? Who cares about the? It's better than Breaking Bad. That show is great.
the first
That's
episode
fine.
is just boring.
It's not.
I didn't
It's
like it
not
because
boring at all.
it felt like they took a commercial turn. When I watched it, I felt like Breaking Bad was a little bit more raw and edgy. But I want to know what you guys feel. Tweet us,
Tweet us
at the Nostalgicast on Twitter.
On Twitter.
Twitter.
Again, these throws are perfectly timed if you could just remember our handle.
Yeah.
Keep forgetting it.
You're real good
It's
at
just
it.
And I
it's the
call-
name of the show.
And then I call Black Nostalgicast Black.
Nope.
Dang it. Whatever. I keep calling them the wrong name. They're too close.
You could write it down.
It's in my head.
Okay.
All right. Well, either way, tell us what you
I feel
think.
like, is there just like a radioactive site around here that is just affecting you guys, where you just like you can't remember anything?
Don't look at me.
Well, your office is over there. You're
I blame
protected.
That's
the
true.
marijuana. I don't know what you got going on.
Hey, man, here in this side of Los Angeles, California, it's just
You guys never remember any conversation we've ever had. Sometimes I hear you guys having repeat conversations of the same thing that you've
I've been
already
a part
talked
of that.
about.
I've been a part of that.
and we don't remember at all.
At all.
No.
I think Andrew sometimes make up those conversations in his head.
I mean, I don't, because they're all recorded. It's a case where in this very rare situation, I have the receipts because these conversations are had during the podcast.
Todd, delete the files.
SyFy has ordered a Day of the Dead series. First Chucky, and we talked about that a while back. They're doing a Chucky show. And now SyFy has given a 10-episode order for a series based on George A. Romero's classic zombie film, Day of the Dead. While the original 1985 film followed a small group of military officers and scientists who dwell in an underground bunker as the world above is overrun by zombies, the SyFy series sounds a bit different. So not a lot of details on that, but they're going into production on a Day of the Dead series, and you know, Day of the Dead, it's the best one of the trilogy. Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. It's the best one. It's a great movie. Fucking love it.
2 questions. One, why are they saying it's going to be a bit different, but then they're like, there's no information on it? How do they know it's going to be different if there's no information on it?
That was just all they teased. They were like, we're doing this, and it's going to be a little twisty.
Okay.
different.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Okay. Dawn of the Dead is the one in the mall.
Yeah.
That's the best one.
That is the best one.
No,
And
Day of the Dead is the best one.
I've
Dawn of the Dead is the most popular one. Day of the Dead is the best
Oh,
one.
well,
I-
Mr. Fancy Pants.
Now, question for you.
That
What? Actually, maybe not for Kirk. For you guys.
was like your SNL character that you
That they
tried
did-
to
didn't want?
Yeah.
That's me auditioning for Mad TV, and they're like, no.
You see how they said, like, hey, we're going to bring this back and it's going to be slightly different, clearly, so that when it's completely different, nobody's upset. Would you have preferred Disney just did the same thing for Mulan
What do you mean?
and just tell
Yeah.
us, like, hey, we're doing a Mulan. It's totally different, but Mulan.
I guess.
I feel like maybe
I mean, I'm going to 100% agree with you.
There'd be a more
If it were a different movie.
I'm
It's
done.
not a different movie.
done.
It's the
That's why I
same
didn't
movie.
ask you. That's why
So
I
there's
didn't
no
ask you.
reason for them to say that.
Nah, you tripping.
We're breaking up.
do we need more zombies? Do we need any more zombie?
100%.
Why?
Because
There-
zombies are great.
Did anybody
know,
go?
And
I
we need,
wanna-
zombie
if-
we
land?
need more. We need more better zombies because
Yeah.
Walking Dead sucks.
Sucked. And
So
Fear the
we
Walking
need a-
Dead
we need
also
a good
sucks.
zombie show.
It
Wait.
does? I thought
Yeah.
people liked
I'm
that
going to
show.
say
Fuck Walking
it-
Dead. That show sucks.
it was good because
For the
I
f-
loved it.
the
And
fir-
now I watch it just because I'm like, I'm seeing it through. And I don't particularly like it as much, but you were on board when it first came out.
Absolutely.
no, I
You were not on
I was
board?
yeah, I
definitely
watched
on
the
board.
first season and I was like, this sucks.
Wow.
The first season was
for
the
the-
best season.
Nah, it was.
Wow.
It's just not a good interpretation of the
And
zombie.
you feel the same way
lore.
with Fear the Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Wow.
Fear the Walking Dead is trash.
No, they were both
These
good
shows
to start.
and the comic. I read the comics early on. I never liked them. It's just such a bland interpretation of zombies. There's so many better zombie stories
Wow.
out there. Return of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead 2, Return of the Living Dead 3, Reanimator, Day of the Dead.
Zombie.
Fucking. I mean, Zombieland's good, sure.
That's the one I know.
Fucking. What are some other? I mean, back in the early days, White Zombie. Walking Dead is just baby's first zombie show. Fuck that show.
I would
Wow.
I would
Hot take.
if this is completely different and they do it maybe I Am Legend style in George A. Romero's fashion would be really good if it kind of came out that zombies are now the majority and that is becoming the Earth mindset and they start to see humans as possible entities to be afraid of because not only is their food source almost gone, so they probably find a new way to eat, but they start to create zombie lore towards these humans who are hunting them. That would be fantastic.
This guy
God,
pitches us things
I
like
hate to
we really
fucking
work
say
on.
it, but I'm on board. I'm on board with that one.
I didn't make that up, guys. That's the original I Am Legend. That's what it's.
Yeah, I know,
that's what
but
it is.
in the zombie world,
Yeah.
cut him a check.
Thanks.
Yeah, sure. After this,
Well, are you there for that, Andrew?
I mean, yeah, I'll see it. Yeah, sure.
You'd see it more than The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
Okay.
any day of the week.
Wow.
I don't
The
know.
only good thing about The Walking Dead is the fucking intro sequence. I love the theme song.
Oh my God. That's just a weird take.
Man is a hard critic, dog.
Wow.
I've only seen one episode.
I'm afraid to
so I
show
don't
you
know.
my zombie project when it's done.
But do people really need zombies?
Thank you. Thank you so
'Cause
much.
I was gonna say that Zombieland 2 came out. Nobody spoke about it. The last zombie thing, I honestly didn't know Zombieland or whatever the TV show you were just talking about was still on TV. I didn't know Fear of the Zombies was still on TV.
Fear the Walking
That's-
Dead.
well,
Fear
yeah.
the zombies.
Yeah, do we need more of this? I don't think
I
anybody
I can
cares.
never get enough of zombies.
Do you think they're the apex of villains? Like they're the one thing that people are always going to be afraid of or something? Is there a reason behind why you think they're so great?
I mean, we talked about this before, but all horror lore and iconography is all based on human fear, and zombies are something that you can shape into any contemporary human fear. They're a very malleable iconography to utilize.
In fact, it's probably a good time because of the coronavirus.
Yeah,
and they can write that in.
I mean,
you know what? Yeah.
The
$1 million idea I just gave it to him for free.
let's go through this timeline a little bit. This has been sort of transpiring over the last couple weeks, and I just want to like unpack this. So, Flava Flav was fired from Public Enemy after 35 years. And this is what happened. Public Enemy announced they are permanently moving forward without Flava Flav, firing one of hip-hop's most memorable hype men. The abrupt dismissal comes just 2 days after the rapper sent a cease and desist letter to Bernie Sanders over Chuck D's concert at the campaign's Los Angeles rally Sunday. And I'm just going to go through this, like, rather than just reading off of this copy or whatever. But so basically what happened was Bernie Sanders was having a rally. Chuck D, who is founding member of Public Enemy and also the sole owner of sort of the copyright of the brand, he has this offshoot of Public Enemy called Public Enemy Radio. So they announced that they were doing a free show as part of this rally. And it was sort of advertised as Public Enemy Radio, but like if you look at the flyer, the way that they like wrote Public Enemy, it's like it says Public Enemy and then radio is just tiny. So they were clearly kind of trying to like make people think that it was Public Enemy when it was really like this offshoot thing. It's just Chuck D and then a couple other different MCs that
much like the Mulan thing.
Aren't OG members of Public Enemy. So this was all advertised. And so what happened was Flava Flav had his lawyer send a cease and desist letter to Bernie Sanders of like, you were promoting that Public Enemy is performing at your show unauthorized without my permission. I'm not performing there. I did not authorize this. I'm not officially endorsing Bernie Sanders for the Democratic candidate or for president. And this is sort of like illegally misrepresenting that Public Enemy as a whole, which I am a part of, is endorsing Bernie Sanders. So in response to this, Chuck D came out and he was like, basically like, fuck him. He's basically just a like corporate, or he's basically just a corporate tap dance man at this point. He goes on these reality shows. He'll only do things for money. He specifically said he would rather dance for his money than do benevolent things. So essentially what Chuck D said is that they were doing this benefit show for free. They extended the offer for Flava Flav to be a part of it and for Public Enemy to perform. And Flava Flav said no because he wanted to get paid. And so they were like, okay, well, all right. And so he did it as Public Enemy Radio. And it was, they were doing it for free as a benefit for this rally. I guess this was apparently the last straw for Chuck D. And he basically, went on this tirade and was like, this is not the first time this has happened. Flav like refuses to ever do these benefit shows. He sort of goes against everything that Public Enemy stands for, because we've always stood for like supporting these grassroots issues. And, we should be out there, donating our time to helping these campaigns and standing up for things that we believe in. In 2016, Harry Belafonte's social justice organization was doing this big benefit show. And once again, Public Enemy wanted to perform there, but Flava Flav refused because they weren't going to get paid because they were doing it for free. And he said, like, this was it. Like, this was the final straw. That caused, whenever he did that in 2016, it caused a huge rift in our relationship. We haven't really talked since. There was never any like official thing, but we really just have not worked together. We haven't talked in 4 years. And now, like, this is the final straw. So that happened. And then a couple days later, they came out with a statement, and Chuck D was like, yeah, Flava Flav is fired. So they fired him from Public Enemy. Flava Flav came back and was basically like, oh, you're going to let like politics ruin a relationship after 35 years? Like, I'm not your employee. You can't fire me or whatever. And then Chuck D's lawyers was like, well, Chuck D owns the sole copyright of the band. It's his band. He can perform as Public Enemy whenever he wants, and he has the power to kick you out. And so, a couple of more tweets from Chuck D talking about this. He said of Flava Flav, he said, he said in regards to the rally with Bernie Sanders, if there was a bag, Flav would have been there front and center. He will not do free benefit shows. Sued me in court the first time I let him back in. His ambulance lawyer sued me again on Friday, and so now he stays home and better find rehab. Wow. And so he says, I built Public Enemy Radio so it does benefits at fundraisers. He said he's never going to do them. So his refusal to do the Harry Belafonte show in 2016 was, really just caused a rift, and this was sort of like the final straw of it. He said a bunch of other stuff. He just kind of went on this rant. But ultimately, what culminated is that Flava Flav was officially kicked out of Public Enemy because of this Bernie Sanders rally. So, come the results of this primary election, if it sort of ends up at the end of the day that Bernie Sanders does not win the primary and Joe Biden is elected to become the Democratic candidate, and that's sort of the end of Bernie Sanders' campaign for the 2020 election, at the very least, he can look back and say, I caused Flava Flav to get fired from Public Enemy.
It's an odd story with a lot of odd components to it. My first question, because there's a lot to unpack there, is why is Flava Flav sending a cease and desist order to Bernie Sanders? Shouldn't it be a cease and desist order to Public Enemy Radio?
No.
Yeah, I think it's because if there was some kind of unauthorized use of IP, I think the Bernie Sanders campaign would be the responsible party.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not.
Right.
It is, though.
But in the premise,
No, it's not.
Because it's his event.
It's
and
Chuck
he's promoting
D's.
his event. He's promoting Bernie Sanders' event with a performance featuring Public Enemy / Public Enemy Radio. So the event is the overall component, and they are.
Yeah.
So
that's what you're.
Yes,
but they would be responsible. But the issue is
Chuck D owns it. Flava Flav does not.
Sure, but they are also I think that is the issue there, where he's. Do you know if the poster says Public Enemy Chuck D?
It says Public Enemy Radio,
but
it does.
He owns
say,
both.
But they're
Flava
clear.
Flav.
No,
is there an image of him on there?
No.
Yeah. But I think the reasoning behind it is if he just went after Chuck D, nobody would be talking about it other than maybe the rap or the hip hop community. But he went after presidential candidate Bernie Sanders, and it got him a bunch of clout for it.
I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily it either. Like, I don't know why Flava Flav would be like, yeah, I went against Bernie Sanders. Like,
I mean, when's the last time you heard about Flava Flav other than this?
I mean, Flava Flav is just kind of like he's in his legendary status at this point. So I don't think he's like chasing that. But it's a little confusing. Like
it's
at this
confusing
point because his name is not on it. But at the same time, he's a part of the group. So maybe he doesn't want the ceremony or the event to promote it as if he's endorsing him. You know what I mean?
He's a part of the group, but it's technically Chuck D's group. Like even in the history of it, he brought Flava Flav in. It was Chuck D and the Bomb Squad that was the producing partners of Chuck D. They were the big part of Public Enemy. And then Flava Flav came in and they're like, oh my God, this guy is amazing. He's a great hype man. We can give him some songs to rap onto. So it's always been Chuck D, whether it's Public Enemy or Public Enemy Radio. I believe it's always been Chuck D. So for Flava Flav to be like, you can't do this, Chuck D's like, I can.
Is there any merit to in the last 10 to 15 years, Public Enemy was Flava Flav? Just because he was so famous out of the entire group.
No, I don't think anyone knew. Like he was the most famous one because of Flavor of Love.
That's what I mean.
Stuff.
That stuff is what I mean.
But I don't think anyone knew his fame. I don't think was attached to Public Enemy. I think probably 98% of people who were a fan of him through being in reality TV show probably just had no idea that he was even in that group.
Yeah.
Oh,
Public Enemy kind of starts and ends with Chuck D.
On Flavor of Love, I remember hearing a lot Public Enemy #1.
That's because it's their kind of tagline.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's
In
Public Enemy
reference to
Stand.
the group.
Yeah.
But they would use that as his title constantly.
But
They would
that's
call
why
him
Chuck D
Flav
would
and
say-
Public Enemy #1.
That's why Chuck D would say, you're doing all these reality shows, acting like
Gotcha.
a goof, and it doesn't represent
Yeah.
what
we
Public
do.
Enemy really means.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I also, fun fact, I went to a Public Enemy concert in 1994 in Chicago, and I was like, this is going to be the greatest concert ever. It started late. It started with like 5 acts that were like just recently signed to Chuck D. So we had no idea who they were. And then Public Enemy came out, rocked it for half an hour, and then we're like, good night. That was the concert. That
would
was
be the
it.
fucking worst.
Oh, I was kind of hammered. So I was
any
okay with
good?
it.
Any good? Like whatever they're called, whatever you said they
Openers?
were. Openers.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
openers.
No, everyone was kind of like, who are they?
Oh,
I don't remember. It was
no.
like these acts that they just signed.
Yeah, every especially in the 90s, every like rapper that gets big just immediately starts cultivating like this like
Still
roster of like
Still a thing?
proteges that they start like
Yeah.
hyping.
Yeah.
And like 90% of them just never take off or go anywhere.
Yeah.
And then like every once in a while, one of them actually becomes like a real thing.
Damn.
Yeah. But that half hour of Public Enemy was wonderful.
Oh,
But we had to go through like 5 acts of like, I have no idea who this person is.
Mhm.
But it's still it's harsh when like Chuck D, yeah, he did all the Twitter stuff, but then he made the official, we thank him for his time with Public Enemy. We
Yeah.
wish him all the best. And you're like, that's like such, we're done.
Yeah, and they the ultimate like fucking power move fuck you thing was they issued the statement on this like official legal like
Did they?
letter with like all of the current existing members of Public Enemy, their names on it, and then they all like with their big flourishing signatures. So it's
Wow.
not just like, oh, Chuck D's doing this. Like every member of Public Enemy like deliberately signed this paper saying like you're kicked out of the band.
Wow, I didn't know that. The only way it could have gotten colder is if they're like, good luck with your future endeavors.
Yeah.
And that's just
and
like, we're
they
out.
repossessed all of his clocks.
Wow.
I mean, to be honest with you, it seems like they've had just long-standing beef. I heard Flava Flav saying, you're pretty much making fun of the fact that I was a drug addict, but he's been clean for 10 years. And I don't know why. I don't know why Flava Flav doesn't want to put his neck on the line per se and endorse somebody, but it just seems like they've just been done with each other for a long time.
Yeah.
So at this point, it was just like
This was
all
like the
right.
final
Yeah,
straw.
like I don't think either one of them care that much.
Mhm.
Like Flava Flav can find something to do because he's the more famous name of the two. He can go do something and be just fine. So I think it was just kind of like all right.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Speaking of legendary parting of ways,
Great segue.
didn't even plan that. Indiana Jones fans are calling for the cancellation of the film after Steven Spielberg quits as director.
Oh,
This is
fuck! I don't care.
Indiana Jones fans have been left reeling following the news that Steven Spielberg has stepped out of directing the new film. The filmmaker will remain on the project as a hands-on producer and is expected to give the directing reign to Ford versus Ferrari's James Mangold. This will make the untitled fifth Indiana Jones film the first of the franchise in its 39-year history to not be directed by Spielberg. His decision was inspired by a desire to pass the character's legacy along to a new generation to bring their perspective to the story. Let's pass this on to a new generation. So James Mangold, who's been directing since like the early 90s,
Yeah.
if not the late 80s.
Yeah.
Following the announcement, which was reported by Variety, fans have been expressing their shock on social media. And just a quick little curation of a couple of the responses of like tweets and things like that from like journalists and things like that. In my mind, literally the only reason you do an Indiana Jones 5 would be to course correct after Crystal Skull. This was Spielberg's chance to leave the franchise on a high note, basically a do-over. So with him out of the equation, I don't know why you would do this, period. Another one, okay, now I'm really angry. So now we have an Indiana Jones movie with neither Spielberg or Lucas. Why are you doing this, Disney? Spielberg. The lack of Steven Spielberg in the director's chair, along with George Lucas not producing, means Indiana Jones has joined Star Wars as one of as once defining cinematic franchises that are now just another piece of Disney IP.
People are have a
Dumb.
lot to do.
Yeah.
Or like nothing to do, rather. People have so much time on their hands. That's the thing you're going to be enraged about.
I get it.
Do you
Do
get
you?
why they're enraged?
Yeah.
I get
Okay.
why they're enraged, but
Oh.
I don't get that angry about movies. But I do think it's dumb. It's just like
I get
Wait,
it.
you
Spielberg's
think
got to fucking direct it, of course.
Spielberg
So
gave
what?
us the last one in which he got into a fridge to get away from a nuclear blast. And it was aliens whose skulls levitated and then turned an old ruined site into a spaceship. I don't give a fuck. He made the last one suck balls.
Yeah,
Give
but
me
it-
fucking Jones versus Croft from this guy 1,000,000 times over instead.
So you're saying you literally give us dozens and dozens of just fucking industry defining,
Yeah.
touch tone, childhood defining films,
None
and then you make one bad thing, and then fuck you.
I'm not saying fuck you
That sounds about
completely. I'm saying stop making movies once you stop making this movie, this franchise once you've ruined it.
But
That
you
last
do
movie was
like-
terrible.
That's just one.
Let
that's
somebody else
one
try.
Mistake
I-
in a fucking like Spielberg has a handful of
didn't
bad
Spielberg go
movies.
back and,
Oh, he's
and
got more than a
replace
handful.
replace all the bad stuff in Indiana Jones as well with like fucking radios and shit?
No, first of all, it's E.T.
E.T..
And second of all, the studio made them do that because they wanted the movie to be more kid friendly.
What?
And he had no say over that.
I mean, if people
I
don't,
mean, as much as any director has.
I mean,
over
did
a
people
movie
get
owned by a
mad that
studio.
Lucas didn't direct the rest of the Star Wars? Why would you get mad about this?
Well, the reason for that is because people weren't as mad about George Lucas not directing the new Star Wars movies because George Lucas had become a hated figure in the Star Wars fandom
Okay.
because of the prequels. At that point, everyone just, it's like you either die the hero or live long enough to become the villain. He had thoroughly tarnished his own legacy and become known by his own fans as the guy who ruined Star Wars. So by the time episode 7 was coming out, people were excited about a fresh perspective and Lucas not being involved with it.
Okay. I'm gonna give a hot take.
Okay.
This James Mangold directed one will be better than Temple of Doom.
Probably.
I mean, but
It'll be better than Last Crusade. Will it be better than the original? No, it will not. But
Will
it's going to
anything?
be better than the following.
it's not going to be better than Last Crusade. Temple of Doom is the most regarded as worst one.
Is that regarded worse than the? Because I didn't see the last one.
Oh.
Is it considered worse than Crystal Skull?
No.
Oh, really?
Or yeah, no. I
Oh.
mean, yeah, Crystal Skull is like that's
Oh,
the worst
gotcha,
one.
gotcha.
So he's
They play-
really
but
only,
the original trilogy, the Temple of Doom is
Yeah.
the
so,
weakest.
I mean, like he's only batting 50%.
And only half of the people think it's 50. Most think it's
Yeah,
most
I mean,
think
I
it's
like
25.
Last Crusade, but it's not great. So I bet you this one's just as good, if not better, than the following three.
Do you think George Lucas would have made a better following 3 Star Wars?
no, I mean, I really enjoyed Force Awakens. I love The Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker was
Right.
But no, I mean, I no matter what revisionist history people try to do now, that like they hate the new movies, so they're like being like falsely nostalgic for the prequels. The prequels fucking suck.
Yeah, the prequels
Yeah.
are terrible.
They're terrible. I don't care how much you want to pretend like they're not that bad because you hate the new movies so much. Those movies are fucking awful.
But that's basically what I'm getting at. I don't want to give Spielberg 3 more chances to ruin the franchise just so we can half reboot it for.
I definitely do.
10 years later.
I would give Spielberg infinite chances.
Yeah,
That's
the
fair.
guys.
That's fair.
I love Steven Spielberg so much. I will let him do anything,
Do you-
and I will forgive him.
You don't like
I want
him to
do-
Ready
do you
Player
do
One?
things.
You forgive him for his shitty movies because he has shitty movies.
I
Name
will-
3.
1941, Crystal Skull, and I'm going to give it. AI.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
Ready
Nope.
Play-
The
Ready
ending of
Player
AI is
One.
trash.
Nope.
Ready Player One
Yep.
was
I
garbage.
love-
I want to see that. but I heard
AI
it's good.
is an underrated gem.
Nah.
I love AI. People who don't like AI just don't
It's-
understand.
It's poopy.
It's
I
not.
love
It's
HJO.
really
though,
good.
so.
No.
AI is a great movie,
No.
and I watched it many times.
He ruined Kubrick's vision.
So
AI is a great movie.
when I
It's
saw
a highly underrated classic that was
Ruined.
misunderstood in its time
And ruined by
and
Spielberg.
had bad marketing, but it was a very good movie.
And I blame Spielberg for that. Cool.
it was still a big old movie though.
Big old.
No, it was like kind of a it was a flop, and it was sort of regarded as like, oh, Spielberg made a dud, but the movie is great, and I
What
fucking
am I
love it.
thinking of then? What's the Will Smith AI movie called?
That iRobot.
Okay.
also good.
When I saw that,
No, iRobot's not good.
oops. Did you like Ready Player One?
No,
Okay.
a piece of shit.
See, he's got
That's
lot
a
of flops.
Spielberg movie.
But that's
Yeah.
what I'm getting.
Okay, so when I saw that Bad Boys 3 wasn't going to be directed by Michael Bay, I almost tweeted, you know,
Tweeter.
but
And tweet.
then I realized, meh.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to happen. with this
Michael
sequel.
Bay sucks, so who gives a fuck?
Okay.
Wow.
I'll allow you to have that. But
Michael Bay sucks.
he doesn't.
You're telling me you don't like Transformers?
No,
Oh.
The first one?
no.
Nah, you bugging.
The Transformers movies are terrible.
They're
The
terrible.
first one. The first
You're
one.
crazy.
The
The
first,
Yes,
one
the
was good.
first one.
The first one was good. I don't give a shit.
No, the first one.
one was solid.
They suck.
the first one was solid.
Michael Bay is a hack.
Even the storyline was solid on the first one.
It's, I would.
The only good movies that Michael Bay has ever made are The Rock and Bad Boys 2.
The Rock
and
is
Bad
fantastic.
Boys 1.
And this one on
And I put those in
Netflix,
order because
which I
Bad Boys 2
forgot
is
the
better
name
than
of.
Bad Boys 1.
What about Pearl Harbor?
6, 8 under.
No!
What's the Netflix movie that he just did with Ryan Reynolds?
6 people.
Six Underground.
6 Underground. That's fucking great.
It's a
haven't- I
great
haven't
movie.
seen that one.
It's a great movie.
If you're not expecting like
Makes no sense.
like
It's
amazing
zero sense, zero
writing,
logic.
but it's still amazing
it's great.
to watch.
I am not a Michael Bay fan,
Yeah.
and then I watched that twice over Christmas. Like, oh, that's good.
Michael Bay is a fucking hack who somehow accidentally made 3 pretty good movies.
So when I saw that Michael Bay wasn't directing, I was a little bit peeved. But once it simmers down, you watch and you're like, oh, that's actually pretty good. You come and realize that the franchise or whatever the brand of the movie is might sometimes be a little bit bigger than one person's vision. So I'm not going to Tyler it and say, we don't need him to come back and all this jazz. I'm going to keep my panties not in a bunch. But if they want to put my man Jay Mang, behind the camera, go for it. He makes good movies. And I think he's one of those chameleons that like he will give you what you need, what you want. So make it.
I loved everything you said, particularly how you just nicknamed James Mangold.
Jay Mang, man, that's my guy.
Last story before we take a quick break. Sometimes I always put these little things at the end that are only really going to appeal to me. Hasbro, I'm assuming is some sort of tie-in promotion with the new movie, is going to relaunch a reissue of the Real Ghostbusters Kenner toy line from the 80s and 90s. I had tons of these toys growing up. Have tons of nostalgic feelings for them. One of the best toy lines in existence. The late 70s and all throughout the 80s, Kenner dominated the toy industry. They did the Star Wars toys. They did the Real Ghostbusters toys. They did the Robin Hood toys.
The Kevin Costner thing?
Yeah,
That's really funny.
They did the Terminator 2 toys, among tons of other ones. I loved the Kenner toys when I was a kid. I had all of them, and I had a bunch of these Real Ghostbusters toys. And they were great because the Ghostbusters toys were really cool because you could like spray them with water and they would like change colors, like they got slimed. But then also like the ghosts and monsters were like really awesome, and they were just really great and inventive, and good paint job, good paint deco, good articulation, good sculpting, just a great line of toys. And they're going to reissue these as sort of like a throwback. So when they do these things, they take the original molds that were used in this actual toy line, and then they just recast a new production line of these. So they'll be like the actual authentic toys because they're using the exact same molds, just with new paint deco and obviously utilizing new production technology that exists now.
And you'll be buying them.
I will definitely.
For what movies this coming out?
Ghostbusters. Well, I mean, it's the new Ghostbusters movie.
The one with the kids from, what's the name of that show that everybody likes?
Stranger
Stranger
Things.
Things.
Well,
The
Finn
kids
Wolfhard is in it.
Oh,
but
okay.
No other Stranger
He
Things.
is the kids though. So
Oh, God.
But it's funny because this toy line is not from the new movie, and it's not even from the original movie. This is the Real Ghostbusters toy line, so it's from the cartoon.
Which is probably even more exciting for you.
I love
Yeah.
it. I would love it if it was from the Ghostbusters toy line, which
Oh,
would,
yeah.
it's just like a
Mhm.
like a gorilla and two randos.
I mean, those toys were cool too.
That'd have been cool.
How much do you think it'll cost?
The running rate for like a mass produced action figure, like that's not like a smaller produced like collectible line, you can get most like 7-inch scale toys for like $9.99. That's usually the running price for a single
Something
action
like this?
7-inch scale action figure.
So
Like something so like this. This right here is like a mainstream mass produced 7-inch scale action figure. This was at the time when I bought this in like 2013. This was like $8.99. It'd probably be like $10.99 now.
That's kind of expensive.
Something like this would be maybe like $7 or $8 or something like that. And then something like this. This is a more like collect. These are like more collectible. The higher quality toys. They're made with better materials. They're made with better detail, better paint jobs, better articulation. They're made in smaller batches, and they're made more for collectors. So like I think this was like $30. And this came in a set of all 4 turtles. It was a Comic-Con exclusive, and the whole thing cost $100.
Oh my gosh.
But these smaller mass-produced toys you can get for like $10 a figure.
so
I better be prepared when y'all have these kids and they want these toys. You better have.
Oh, but this is
job.
speaking of which. So this is a Kenner had the Alien toy line as well, and this is a Kenner power loader.
I thought that was a Transformer.
Which is-
this whole
which is-
time.
I thought it was a taxi cab.
So these toys existed. These Kenner toys for the Alien toy line existed, and it's funny because similarly to the Real Ghostbusters toy line, these were produced based on the Alien cartoon. And you might be thinking to yourself, "Wait a minute, there was an Alien cartoon?" No, there wasn't.
I was gonna say.
They were produced based on a Alien cartoon that was in production. They produced a handful of episodes, but the show was never released. So the Alien toy line from Kenner was based on a show that never actually came out.
Is Kenner still in business?
No, Kenner does not exist anymore, and their Hasbro owns the Kenner line, so they own the rights to all the Kenner toys.
So, as the children that bought these things or that got these things as gifts and really wanted them as kids grow up and become the financial powerhouses of the nation, do you think we're giving these companies just like an out to be lazy because we're like so nostalgic that they could just remake shit they already have? Or do they not have to be creative anymore? Is what I'm getting at.
That's the most Tyler question you've done in a while.
From my perspective, I don't regard this as being lazy. I find it very cool and fascinating, the idea of, and probably a lot of work does. I mean, it's probably harder to do this than it is to start a new toy line because they gotta find all of these original molds. They gotta clean them. They've got to like reassemble them. They've got to integrate them into their new systems. Like it's probably no easy feat to bust out some old molds from the 80s and then like put them back into production. So I don't really regard it as being lazy. If anything, it's probably more difficult than the way that they produce toys now because they have so many new pieces of technology. The way that they make toys now is much more efficient. It's obviously cheaper and in many regards less lower quality. So now they got to bust out these old molds that were done in like an older way, more time intensive, more expensive, so on and so forth. So I'm assuming they're probably not going to produce a lot of these, but I definitely would like to grab some. On that note, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to watch the new trailer for the Scooby-Doo movie Scoob that just came out.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
So
Hot news.
This segment is now called Live Dive.
during the break, first of all, have you ever been waiting outside of a bathroom
Oh God.
and it's taking like a long time like an inordinate amount of time,
Mm-hmm.
and then the person finally comes out, and you go in, and it doesn't smell like poop at all, and you're just like, that guy was banging rails in here. Because that just happened to me
Nice.
during the break. A piece of news broke.
Yeah.
And we gotta fucking investigate this right now.
Yes.
Because there are conflicting pieces of news. So Kirk sent me, he found an article that he just saw on his computer while we were on the break, and it says that Netflix is wait a minute.
No, you read it wrong, Kirk.
Wait, did I read it wrong?
Yeah.
Did I read
Oh.
it too fast?
Yeah, you.
God damn
you
it.
read it too fast.
I thought this was gonna be like a really cool thing, but it turns out that you are just dad beats.
Yeah.
Should I have emailed it to myself?
No, read what you sent.
Wait, hang on. Let me see.
It
In the-
says
in the
it
Slack.
says Amazon.
Yeah.
It doesn't say Netflix.
Sorry.
I thought we were gonna get into some
Oh, man.
special lightning in a bottle here.
Damn.
Never mind.
What is
Kirk said that Kids in the Hall was being rebooted or revived at Netflix, and then Tyler was like, I heard that it was being revived at Amazon, and Kirk was like, no, it says Netflix, and so I thought we were gonna have to like dig and just figure out what was going on, but no, it's just Kirk just read the article wrong.
Sorry.
I heard it
The
was
reports that I'm
at
getting,
Peacock.
the reports that I'm getting is something we can look into, whether or not it's going to just be Amazon Prime Canada or if it's going to be streamed in America too.
Yeah, but just to quickly, since this is breaking news, it literally just dropped. Like I saw that like every article that was posted about this was posted 30 minutes ago. They're reviving Kids in the Hall on Amazon Prime.
Wherever it's at, it's very exciting.
Yeah. Do you guys think it's just because?
You go through your life, you accomplish things, you find success, you get so far, you find fulfillment, you chase the dream and you accomplish it, and you go as far as you can and accomplish as much as you can, and then some days, brown stuff.
Yeah.
It's my favorite Kids
Solid.
in the Hall sketch.
That's good.
Now going off of that, we are going to watch the trailer for the new Scooby-Doo movie, which technically a trailer has already come out for this, but it was like a very kind of brief, shorter trailer that didn't give a whole lot of detail. And today, the final trailer for the show or for the movie just dropped. And I think this movie's coming out in like May. We're getting our final look, our final more extended look at the movie before it comes out in May.
In theaters?
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
So this is the trailer for
Oh,
Scoob.
I did see this. Trash.
Shaggy is voiced by Will Forte. Scooby is voiced by Frank Welker, who is also the voice of Fred.
Am I the only person that can't hear any of this?
I hear it very softly.
Okay.
You can't hear it?
I hear it
I have
very
really bad
softly.
hearing.
I
So
hear it
if
softly.
everybody else is hearing it, that's
I can hear it softly.
Softly.
from the sky and beam them up.
Better.
perfect.
I can't breathe. I have to assume that if they were
Daphne is Amanda Seyfried.
I love her.
Fred is Zac Efron. And
I love him.
Velma is Gina Rodriguez.
Oh, this is a good
All right.
cast.
I'd like to shake the hand of whoever created this.
The first ever time Velma has ever said the N-word.
Facts.
Was that she got in trouble for that?
Yeah.
What?
Gina Rodriguez got
Oh.
in trouble for singing a rap song in a TikTok video and saying
Oh,
the N-word.
gotcha.
Give me heebie-jeebies.
Hey, Scooby.
Middle name,
Doobie.
last name.
Dude.
This is I as much as I want to see this, I'm a huge Scooby-Doo fan, by the way, in case you didn't know.
Yep.
That part bothers me. I don't like their explanation for why his name is Scooby-Doo.
One of us.
It really annoys me that they
Why? What's the real story?
I mean, there's no real story. It's just that's his name. But I hate whenever things try to go back and explain something, and it's it just kind of makes it dumb. Like in Solo, when they were like, "Oh, his name is Han Solo because he was going through this checkpoint," and they were like, "Who you with?" And he was like, "Nobody," and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna call you Solo," and that's why his name is Han Solo. That's just so much more dumb to me than that his name is Solo, and I don't like that in this. That the reason why his name is Scooby Doo is because he was like improvising during like somebody questioning him about owning the dog.
I don't like it. Scooby Dooby Doo. That's cool.
I mean, that's his name, but I don't like the explanation for why he's named that. It's annoying to me.
I guess our new movie is an origin story.
Every hero should have one.
I want The Rock to play me.
Never gonna happen.
It's a good cast for real.
There were
Yeah, I mean, other than that slight annoyance, that just bugs me in like prequels and stuff like that. Whenever they like explain the origin of something and just in a really dumb, almost like this is the thing I don't like. I don't like whenever somebody capitalizes off of the cultural cachet of some kind of nostalgic property, but in capitalizing off of that, they pick and choose things that they are sort of embarrassed to represent, and then they present them in a mocking way where they're like making fun of it as being dumb. It's like, oh yeah, like people love this, but this part of it's dumb. So we're going to like make fun of that. And that really bothers me because it's like, if you're going to take this beloved thing that people really like and capitalize off of its cultural cachet, like own it,
Own all of
pay
it.
homage to it, celebrate it. Don't fucking choose little things and like make fun of them.
yeah, Mulan.
Like as good as the original X-Men movies are, one of the most annoying parts of it is like little moments like whenever they are getting their costumes, which in the movies they all wear these like just like black leather like flight suits instead of the actual costumes that the characters have in the comics. And there's a scene where like Wolverine is just like, oh, I don't know about these. And then I think it's Cyclops, James Marsden, who's just like, well, what would you rather wear? Yellow spandex? And it's just like, yes,
Absolutely.
we do want him to wear the yellow spandex. That's exactly what we want. That's his costume.
Did anybody else see Rosie in there? The little the robot from
Rosie the robot?
Yeah, from the
not-
Jetsons.
Oh,
She's
Yeah.
in it, and then
No way.
Dick Dastardly is in it.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, it's the movie is supposed to be kickstarting a like Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe.
Oh, okay.
So
everything is a cinematic.
So that's why like
universe.
it's a Scooby-Doo movie, but like the main thing is like they get zapped into a spaceship with the Blue Falcon, which the Blue Falcon is another
Oh,
Hanna-Barbera
yeah. Yeah.
character. What do you gotta say?
I didn't say anything.
We all knew it.
I'm just
Yeah.
listening. Gosh.
Is there a reason though? Like, why not just get Matthew Lillard to play Shaggy?
The thing about that is there was some controversy whenever it was announced that whenever they announced the movie and they showed that like Zac Efron's gonna be playing Fred and Will Forte's gonna be playing Shaggy. It was really controversial within like the fandom of Scooby-Doo because Frank Welker has voiced Fred from the beginning, 1968. He has been the voice of Fred since 1968. Casey Kasem was the voice of Shaggy, you know, from the same time, but you know, obviously Casey Kasem passed away. So whenever Casey Kasem passed away, the mantle of Shaggy was passed down to Matthew Lillard. He played him in the movie, and then he sort of inherited being that voice. So from the time that Casey Kasem passed away, Matthew Lillard was the voice of Shaggy in every Scooby-Doo thing from that point on.
Even like animated stuff.
Everything. That's the thing, and those voice actors sort of inherit those roles, and they sort of get tapped to play them all the time. Like they never recast them. So in every iteration of Scooby-Doo, which there's been a billion of them, you know, there was Scooby-Doo Where Are You, which was the first series, and then there was the Scooby-Doo Show, which was the second series. There's 2 seasons of Scooby-Doo there's 3 seasons of Scooby-Doo Where Are You? And then they rebooted the show as the Scooby-Doo Show. And then they had the Scooby and Scrappy Show. And then they had the Scooby-Doo Movies. And then the Scooby-Doo Movies was a show, but it was called the Scooby-Doo Movies. And then there was a Scooby-Doo and the 13 Ghosts. And then they had pup named Scooby-Doo in the 80s. And then they had What's New Scooby-Doo in the early 2000s. And then they had Shaggy and Scooby Get a Clue. And then they had, most recently, they had Be Cool Scooby-Doo and then Scooby-Doo Guess Who. So all these different iterations of the show, then all of the straight-to-DVD movies. There's a million straight-to-DVD Scooby-Doo movies. And Frank Welker has voiced Scooby-Doo in all of those. Every single one of them. Casey Kasem was Shaggy in all of them up until the point that he passed away, in which, well, a little bit before he passed away, in Mystery Incorporated, which I've left out, but that was before Be Cool Scooby-Doo. He was getting older, and he was kind of like he was dealing with some health issues, so he passed along the mantle of Shaggy to Matthew Lillard. So Matthew Lillard was the voice of Shaggy in Mystery Incorporated and some of the Scooby-Doo straight-to-DVD movies around that time. And then Casey Kasem passed away, and Matthew Lillard has been the voice ever since then. Daphne and Velma have sort of like been less consistent, but other than that, the other voices have been very consistent. So it was a huge controversy when they announced this movie, and they announced that Fred and Shaggy were not going to be voiced by the voice actors who sort of own those characters and have the mantle. And even as far as like Matthew Lillard like tweeted on that day when the news was announced, being like, "This is the first I'm hearing about it too. Like, oh, this feels great." Like, you know, he was really bummed about it. And people were freaking out and being like, you should have had Matthew Lillard in this. It should be Frank Welker or whatever. Now, as much as I love those actors in those roles, and I would love for them to be the actors in those roles, I think the thing that people aren't realizing is they have been the voice actors in those roles exclusively in television and straight to DVD. The last time that there was ever a theatrical film about Scooby-Doo, which was the Scooby-Doo movies in the 90s, the whole cast was recast. That's where Matthew Lillard came from. Freddie Prinze Jr. played Freddie. Matthew Lillard was Shaggy. So the last time that it was ever adapted into a theatrical release, they recast everybody. They didn't make Frank Welker. They didn't make a 50-year-old dude play Fred.
I would have loved that.
So I don't think this is out of the ordinary, because this is the first theatrical release of Scooby-Doo since then. And of course, they're going to find like
stars,
bigger hit stars to draw for the show. That's
Makes
just what they
sense.
do. And Freddie Prinze Jr. had a great quote about that, actually, because somebody talked about him and was like, what do you feel about this? And he was like, this is just how it is. Like, you get older, you pass the mantle, they're going to find younger kids and bigger names to be like, it makes perfect sense. I'm not mad about this.
Business. Man.
That's what he said, and I tend to agree with him. While I love Matthew Lillard as Shaggy, and Frank Welker is a fucking living legend. He's everything. He was the lion roars in Lion King.
I think it's more personal.
I just think it just makes sense from a business and logistical standpoint.
Yeah.
I ain't mad.
I've been working a long time on mine, and I was hoping to take it over after Lillard died, but
do a little bit of it for us.
I feel like it's forced now.
Come on.
Raggy, we gotta go get some sandwiches.
Scoob, I don't have the energy right now, Scoob.
See, that's fucking great.
I mean, that is pretty damn good.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Just start the petition on Twitter that you want me to be the next.
You know why? Fuck you.
Damn. That's
Why? Because
deep.
I gave a man a compliment because I liked his impersonation.
Oh, damn.
That,
You
Go
guys
fuck
have
yourself.
to fight. You guys have to fight.
you want to hear my Austin Powers
No,
impression?
don't do it. Don't do it. It's gonna be too good.
You're at 2 after I just fucking gave you props.
I was gonna do a legit Austin Powers impersonation.
Come on now, guys. Come on. You know.
Powers.
So we watched the trailer.
yeah.
I know Andrew, but do you want to see it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm always for more Scooby-Doo content.
I didn't quite get to really pay attention that much to the trailer, but is it like kids movie with some adult sprinkling, or?
I think it's definitely like more squarely aimed at kids.
Oh, okay.
I think that the Scooby-Doo franchise I think Hanna-Barbera has just never really known how to please the fans. Scooby-Doo is this weird thing where it's such a huge cultural icon. Everybody knows what Scooby-Doo is. If you look at it from an outside perspective, you're like, yeah, Scooby-Doo is like one of the biggest fucking things of all time. But if you really are, know about it, there's never been a Scooby-Doo show that has lasted more than 3 seasons without being canceled. Every Scooby-Doo show gets canceled. The first one was the longest running one.
For syndication reasons?
No, they
seasons is the syndication mark.
Yes, but also the show has just been like, since the beginning, they did the first one, 3 seasons, and they retooled it because there was an issue with kids thinking that it was too scary. Because the first Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Is a little, it's the most dark. It's not dark, but it's the darkest one of them all. And then there was an issue with kids thinking it was a little too scary, so they retooled it. The Scooby-Doo show, it's much lighter. It's less about monsters and things like that. And it didn't really resonate. They rebooted it again. They brought in the Raven Simone, you know, cousin.
I know who you were thinking from Brady Bunch.
Yeah,
Ben?
No, it's why am I blanking on his name? The actor's name is Robbie Wrist.
Yeah,
they brought in that character, Scrappy.
Yeah.
And then that didn't work, and the ratings were low, so they rebooted it again. And like basically, Scooby Doo has just been in this infinite cycle of like they bring out a new show, it doesn't do well, it gets canceled very quickly, sometimes after just one season, and they just are in this infinite cycle of reboots. So it's a really weird franchise where it's such a huge cultural icon, but the shows never really do that well in ratings. They always get canceled very quickly.
How well did the Freddie Prinze Jr. movies do? Because I think they got like 3 of them out of there, right?
2, but they did fine. But they were just not. They're not as huge as like they weren't some huge like runaway success. They were like modestly. They modestly did well. Fun fact: James Gunn wrote the first Scooby Doo.
Oh
movie.
wow.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, looks fine. I like most of the actors in it. I like Zac Efron. I like Gina. I like my girl. What's her name with the eyeballs?
Amanda Seyfried.
Amanda Seyfried. I don't know if I'm gonna watch this though.
I'll definitely watch it with my son. But basically, to wrap up my point, I was trying to make.
No, Kirk. Huh?
No, I'll say it.
Oh, you will?
Yeah.
Oh.
Movie and TV studios have never quite known what to do with the Scooby Doo franchise to please fans, and so you know they oscillate between trying to make a throwback thing that appeals to like the older OG fans, and then like trying to make a true kids version of it that appeals to young kids. They oscillate back and forth between the two approaches seemingly every time, and they just never quite hit the mark. So I don't know how well this will do, but I want to see it, especially because, you know, I mean, yeah, I love Scooby Doo. But I love Hanna-Barbera, and we talked about this like episode 2 or maybe even episode 1. I fucking love Hanna-Barbera. I love everything. Scooby Doo, Blue Falcon, Johnny Quest. I love it all.
real quick. Do you think there would be any possible way of doing like a Cartoon Network Scoob kids show maybe, and then after midnight Adult Swim, adult Scooby Doo with like they're both live action, I guess, or in some way live action, and you have kids playing the characters here, and it's the same continuity. All of this is the origin for this grittier adult version that we get after midnight. Do you think that would be profitable? Because I think I was just like
chasing after crackheads,
and they're just fucking all the time.
I'm thinking it could be like it could be like a Riverdale type thing.
Actually, that is happening. That's the new that adult Scooby Doo show is going to be on my streaming platform, Cock.
Oh, God damn it!
Alongside the adult Legend of the Hidden Temple.
Yeah,
where everyone
fucks. It needs to be done by Lena Dunham.
Can we?
No, why do you keep bringing up Lena Dunham? Nobody likes Lena Dunham.
Nobody.
Nobody likes Lena Dunham.
Everyone liked girls.
No, nobody likes Lena Dunham. Lena Dunham was like she was like the figurehead of like third wave feminism like 5 years ago, and like obviously all like conservatives and shit hated her, and like liberals loved her, but then she did some really problematic shit that made liberals hate her. So like nobody likes Lena Dunham anymore.
She's done.
She's like a social. I mean, I'm imagining she's still an actor, but as far as like her social presence, she's a pariah. Like nobody talks to her, nobody asks her to be on anything.
Oh, okay. You know what? I did hear that thing where she said the football player thought she was ugly.
Yeah,
that thing happened in her book. She talked about how she like outed her sister as trans, and people hated that and criticized her for that.
She also molested her sister.
She defended a guy for being accused of rape, and like she's gone. Like she's out.
Now I'm gonna say I'm gonna tweet Lena Dunham. Do not do Lizzie McGuire.
Yeah.
So now we're going to do a regular segment in which we talk about rumors and unsubstantiated nostalgic news, and talk about whether we think it's a good idea or not. The segment is called
METHODOFLOVE.
Oh, can you go for that?
METHODOFLOVE.
Oh, can you go for that?
METHODOFLOVE.
Oh, can you?
She's gone.
Can you go for that? Can you go for that? Can you go for that?
Yeah, that slapped.
That's
slapped.
It didn't quite work as well as the mashup that we did last episode. What was the mashup we did? We were singing one song and then he was singing a different song.
Were they still Hall & Oates songs?
No, it was one of Raven Simone's raps.
Oh yeah. That's what it was. But that one was like accidentally great.
Yeah.
So another short can you go for that?
Oh, dang it.
That whole process of singing that took longer than
Yeah,
this
it
time
really
of
did.
discussing this. There's one story.
Oh.
So there's a rumor that Henry Cavill is in talks to play Wolverine in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Henry Cavill is reportedly in talks with Marvel Studios to play Wolverine. Before we go any further, this is an unconfirmed rumor and a wild one at that. The rumor goes on to claim that Cavill will make his Marvel Cinematic Universe entrance in Captain Marvel 2 alongside Brie Larson. Hugh Jackman previously played the iconic character on the big screen, which earned him critical praise for his work in 2017's Logan. Now that Disney and Marvel Studios have all their Fox properties back, fans have been wondering who will be in the new X-Men and the new Fantastic Four. Who will be taking on these roles and what other new characters will be introduced. With that being said, a new rumor claims that Henry Cavill is going to be the one to step into the MCU's version of Wolverine. This is a new one since most of the actors that have been talked about in recent years have been on the younger side. Henry Cavill as Wolverine.
How old is he?
Probably in his 40s.
Really? Oh.
Pretty much every big movie star actor man
Yeah.
is in their 40s because it takes that long for them to get to that level.
Absolutely. Yes, that's fact.
I can go for that. I like him. I liked him in the latest Mission Impossible. I thought he was great. He's also really good in Man from U.N.C.L.E. So I can go for that. Full stop.
I can never, ever go for that. I did not like him in Mission Impossible. He was so boring and bland. His face is way too pretty to play Wolverine. I don't want a good guy like Henry Cavill to jump into the
Marvel Universe?
not Marvel Universe, but that specific movie because
Oh.
I really didn't enjoy the first one, Captain Marvel.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
because he's going to be in part 2. Or
Yeah.
this character's going to be in part 2.
Yeah, and like just no. And then he's already Superman. Just no. Also, Hollywood, there's more than like 7 guys. There's more than that. And he's also just like too cute. Like, just no. No, I cannot go for that.
Boy, if you don't get your CGI upper lip muscles on muscles having ass off my screen, I'm going to develop a complex. I'm tired of seeing him. I hate him as Superman. I hate him as The Witcher. I hate him as the man from U.N.C.L.E.
Damn.
I hate him as whatever else Kelby said. I'm done with Henry Cavill. He's made his mark. Let somebody else pick up any fucking role from this guy.
Wait, now I didn't say anything kind of like that.
I
I like this guy.
I disagreed with several parts of what you
Done.
said, but I just loved your energy there.
Damn,
I
it's-
loved
wow.
the way that you delivered a very persuasive argument.
But ultimately, it all comes down to I agree with Kelby that there are more people out there to play these characters, and I was like people that are like, just bring Hugh Jackman back. I don't even want that. If I want a new person that almost nobody knows to bring new life to a character that deserves way better than 80% of the movies gave him.
What is the name of the guy who was in the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio? He's in Split 2. He's a very good actor.
James
No,
McAvoy.
No, not James McAvoy.
He's in Split.
He played Bane. Huh?
Tom Hardy.
Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Tom
Wait.
Hardy.
I wouldn't want
No,
Tom
no, no,
Hardy.
no, no.
Tom
Oh,
Hardy,
okay,
but
gotcha.
like somebody similar to him
Well-
who is a little bit more gruff.
Okay.
No, if I'm not mistaken, Andrew played Bane.
Damn, that's crazy.
Oh, that's a good point.
The casting rumor rises.
Never mind. He didn't play Bane.
So don't say fuck you to me when I
I-
handcrafted you this
I
segue.
can't play Wolverine because I've just been cast as Frankenstein in a new Frankenstein's monster reboot.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I was like,
People are really liking the Invisible Man movie directed by Lee Wanell and starring Elizabeth Moss. And now they're talking about doing a Frankenstein movie in the same universe as that. And Tom Hardy is the front runner to be cast.
That's interesting. I don't want to see Tom Hardy be Wolverine, but like somebody like him.
Here's my truth.
Michael B. Jordan.
ooh,
Nope. He is nowhere near the right person for that role.
I don't want it to be Michael B. Jordan.
You want it to be Usher.
That's so wrong. No, these are all wrong.
You got something there.
Here's my truth. I hate the fucking Superman movies. They're terrible. He sucks as Superman.
That's not true.
I hate Zack Snyder. He's one of the worst directors of all time.
This
More
motherfucker
than Michael
spitting.
Bay?
They're neck and neck.
Damn.
They're very similar in their abilities.
Don't lower it. Keep it up.
He sucks as Superman. That being said, I don't dislike Henry Cavill. I like him in other things. He's great in Man from U.N.C.L.E. Anybody who doesn't think that is something wrong with him. That's a great movie, and he's really good at it, in it. I also like him in the movie Immortals, directed by Tarsem, an underrated gem that not a lot of people know about. It came out before he was Superman. That being said, though, even though I don't dislike Henry Cavill, he is not right for Wolverine at all. The reality is, as good as Hugh Jackman is as Wolverine and as synonymous with him as he has become over the years, that is not really what Wolverine is like. Wolverine is a short, tiny little man. He's 5'5" in the comics. He's supposed to be played by a short, stubby little guy, and his whole character is that despite his stature, he is like a fucking beast that can destroy you. He's like a Wolverine, a tiny little ferocious creature.
Then they already ruined that with Hugh Jackman.
They did, and now they have the opportunity to cast the right actor to play Wolverine.
I'd say
DeVito.
continue.
DeVito.
If you're at all familiar with wrestling, a good comparison is Daniel Bryan. He's a tiny, scrappy little guy who isn't as handsome or as big as the other guys, but he's able to bring them down like a David and Goliath type situation.
Let's say all the bad things didn't happen and he was still alive. Chris Benoit.
He's too big.
Really? No, he's short.
He's too big. Wolverine is like a tiny little guy. He's not.
But he's muscular.
He's not super ripped. He's just like scrappy.
Are you sure?
He's like Wolverine is supposed to be like a scrawny dude. Not scrawny. He is muscular, but he's like a tiny little guy. Really? He's not supposed to be big and imposing.
Goddamn thing down.
Why not have Tom Cruise do it then?
Because fuck Tom Cruise.
He's also not supposed to be really that handsome. He's just like a tiny, like kind of homely guy.
John Travolta?
John Travolta's like 6'1".
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Now, all of that being said,
What are you talking about?
he is a tiny little dude.
Is this wrong?
No, that's
He's
right.
not supposed to be.
He's like a 5'5" little guy. He's very stout. He is muscular, but he's not bodybuilder muscular.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we've seen the same thing two different ways. But
That all being said, I'm going to hit you with the caveats.
Oh.
Hit the calves.
Henry Cobbs.
Oh. I'm going to hit you with the Henry caveats.
Good.
Wolverine is one of the most overrated characters of all time.
No.
He is by far not the coolest X-Men character. Not even close to being the coolest comic book character. Who gives a fuck about Wolverine? Let's just get some other better character. There's more interesting characters in the Marvel stable of characters. He's so overrated. Deadpool and Wolverine are the most overrated comic book characters in existence.
How dare you? I will take the Wolverine stuff.
Any person that actually reads comic books will say the exact same thing. I saw a meme the other day. Have you seen that meme? That is that scene from Terminator 2 where they're at the payphone and the Terminator says, "What is your dog's name?" And then he tells him the dog, and then he talks to his parents and he says a different name. And then they are like, "Oh, he's okay." And then he's like, "Your step parents are dead."
I have no
There's
idea.
What is the canal? I'm so confused.
You're so far off
a meme.
topic. It's unbelievable.
It's not off topic.
Okay.
There's a scene, it's directly on topic. There's a scene in Terminator 2 when they go to a payphone and he's like, "We need to get in contact with my foster parents." And he's like, "I'll call them." And he gets on the phone and he's talking to them in John Connor's voice. He's doing his voice. And he's like, "Oh, I'm here," whatever. And they're like, "Come home, honey." And then he goes, there's a dog barking in the background, and he goes, "What is your dog's name?"
Oh.
And he says, "Jack," I think his name is. And he goes, "Hey, Mom, what's wrong with Woofy?" And then she's like, "Woofy's fine, honey." And then he hangs up with the phone and he goes, "Your foster parents are dead." There's a meme now where you use that as a meme template. So the meme I saw was they're standing there and he looks at John Connor and he goes, do your parents read X-Men? And he goes, yeah, they've been consistent with it since like the early 90s. Like they've read every issue, from like their childhood or whatever. And he goes, hey mom, what's your favorite X-Men? And she goes, Wolverine, honey. And then he hangs it up and he goes, your foster parents are dead.
I have a question.
Wolverine is the most overrated fucking character ever.
Why are they dead? And why did he say the wrong name? All right. I'm sorry. Never mind.
It was a test.
Hold on a minute.
To
Yeah.
test whether or not they were alive or not. It's a test to see if, because in the movie,
Oh
he
my God.
calls his foster parents.
Please, Lord, we're at 3 hours.
The T-1000 has killed them and assumed their identity. So he calls them and she's like, come home, John. And he goes, what's wrong with Woofy? And she goes, Woofy's fine, honey. And then he hangs up and he's like, your foster parents are dead. And so they've turned that into a meme where it's basically a purity test of like testing somebody and then they say the wrong thing and then he's like, they're dead.
I get it.
Shia LaBeouf as Wolverine.
Maybe. I'm trying to think of who could be a good Wolverine.
Yeah.
Like a true to the character. But also it's just like,
I still don't understand your perception of him because I'm seeing the images of the cartoon. He's a very muscular, short guy.
he's muscular, but he's not stacked. He's a tiny,
he looks
he's a
stacked.
tiny ripped guy, but he's not like a Brock Lesnar bodybuilder stature.
I would have to leave the project and claim creative differences, like Lizzie McGuire.
Mm-hmm. Oh, get Hilary Duff to play Wolverine.
Yeah, there we go.
I like it.
Nailed it.
Gordo.
Yeah. People who think that Wolverine's the best character.
So you're not here for that.
Okay, wait. Who is the best X-Men character?
It depends on who you ask. There's so many of the characters. It's just Wolverine is just like,
You just had to ask that question.
I know. I just meant you specifically.
I mean, I love Beast.
Oh.
I love Beast. I'm trying to think of other characters.
I
I self-admittedly, I am by far not like an avid, like legit comic book reader. My knowledge of it is relatively surface level as well. But yeah, it just depends on it depends on who you ask. Yeah, so I can't go for that. That's what I'm saying.
I'm alone.
I can't go
What'd
for
you say?
that.
You couldn't either, right?
I don't want to.
None of us could go for that.
No, I said I could.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And
He's good as Superman.
nope.
Nope.
And on that note, this has been. Can you go for that? Oh, no, can you? Can you go for that? Oh, can
Now
you?
it's just a hot
Oh,
mess.
can you
Now
go
it's
for
just
that? Oh,
a shit sandwich.
Oh, can you? Oh, can you go for that?
I
Can
paid
you
the
go
devil
for
to
that?
a place
Can
where
you
she's
go
gone.
for that?
Yeah.
I mean, this whole episode I think has been off the rails a little bit.
You think?
We'll find
Really?
We'll find a good meeting.
It only started with you having 3 stories about the time you worked in the movie theater 12 hours ago.
Last couple of stories before we wrap this fucking dumpster fire up.
It actually started off with him going through quite a bit with his speech impediment.
Do you hear the disdain in his voice for the fact that you had a speech impediment?
I'll allow it.
That's not what I meant to say. It's like he went through this very
So their Universal Studios Hollywood is getting a Nintendo World. So they had a Simpsons World. It's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
They have a Harry Potter World. It's pretty cool. Now they're getting the Nintendo World. Just when we thought our theme parks couldn't get any better, we've caught wind that a Super Nintendo World is planning to set up camp inside of her very own Universal Studios Hollywood. Soon, gamers of all ages and expertise will get to experience an immersive world created around what may arguably be the most recognized video games in the world. As of right now, all the buzz is centered around Universal Studios Japan and its Super Nintendo World opening ahead of the 2020 Summer Olympics. Though there isn't much information released about the new theme park, Newsweek reports that it will be filled with incredibly fun rides, shops, a restaurant, and interactive gameplay throughout the land. Park goers will have the option to purchase a power-up band equipped with the same technology as the interactive wands at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. The bands are designed around the beloved Super Mario Brothers characters, so get ready to rock wearable versions of Luigi, Mario, Peach, Yoshi, Daisy, and Toad. The bands will allow visitors to use their arms, hands, and entire bodies while exploring the park and also present diehard gamers the opportunity to collect coins, participate in key challenges, and even battle people around them via a smartphone app. As far as the rides go, Universal Studios Japan has confirmed that they will have a life-size Mario Kart ride in addition to a more child-friendly option based around Mario's best friend, Yoshi. Other rumored rides include a Mushroom Kingdom as well as both Peach's Castle and Bowser's Castle. So basically, like this land is opening up in Universal Studios Japan. So it's already kind of been built.
Japan.
We have a lot of knowledge of like, what's there, and then now they're basically planning on doing the same thing here in Universal Studios Hollywood. So we get to we know a little bit about like what it's going to be because it already exists in Japan, and basically like. It's going to be this land that you kind of walk around with. There's going to be a lot of like Nintendo themed things, but you get to wear this armband, and then you can run around and like jump up and like smash bricks, then get coins and all these interactive things that kind of make you feel like you're in a video game.
Sounds great. That sounds great.
If this is your thing, it sounds amazing, but they miss the fucking mark with the band. You could sell a cheap version of the Power Glove, and people would eat that shit.
Oh yeah. You're definitely right.
Oh my god,
definitely
Power Glove.
Yeah, and also I just
so
imagine
bad.
the Japan version is gonna be is pretty sick, but this one's gonna be like a small goat kart ride that's like the Rainbow Road, and then you get to go down slides that are just shaped like tubes.
Yeah.
No, I like this.
I'd like them to have once they decriminalize suicide, they had like a self suicide machine that's just Rainbow Road where you get in. It's like the last thing you do, you just get into a go-kart and then you just drive off the edge.
I love it, but also that just opens everything up to Futurama world, and that makes me really happy.
Oh yeah, the suicide booths.
Yeah.
This is a great idea. I don't have a real job, so I can't afford to go there. So. I'm just kidding. It sounds cool.
I mean, tickets are like $60.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Jens Nygaard Knudsen, inventor of the Lego minifigure, has died at 78. The designer behind one of the most popular toys has died. Jens Nygaard Knudsen, the Danish man credited with the design of anthropomorphic Lego figurines, has died. The toy company tweeted on Monday. According to news outlet AFP, Nygaard Knudsen died February 19th after a battle with ALS. CNN reports that Nygaard Knudsen worked at Lego from 1968 to 2000. He created the first Lego figurine in 1978 and also developed iconic building sets like Space and Castle.
I fucking love that. Space and Castle.
Well, that was the thing. Like,
I know
now they've gotten so like Lego has become such a commodity that now they have all these like intricate little things. So you have like the fucking Star Wars Battle of Hoth set and the fucking Marvel like Thanos battle scene playset or whatever.
Yeah.
But back in the day, whenever Lego first got big, they just had like simple options. They had like 5 sets, and they were super popular. So there was the pirate ship, the space set, and the castle set, and like they were huge, and like everybody wanted them. And like when you were a kid back in the 70s, like that was like I want the fucking castle.
From the makers that brought you Space, Nintendo now brings you Castle. Not Nintendo. I mean, Lego now brings you Castle.
Man is still dead. Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
Yep. And
What if he's ever stepped on one of those?
I was literally I was gonna go like in a dark, deep part of my mind, I was like, the new ALS challenge is walking on a thing of Legos. I hate myself.
Gotta cut that out now.
Yep.
It's
You know what? Leave it in.
Yeah.
And tell them where they can find you on social media.
At Time Lord Tyler.
Final story. In a historic event that will change the face of history, James Lipton, host of Inside the Actor Studio, has passed away at 93 after a battle with cancer. Inside the Actor Studio host and veteran TV writer James Lipton has died. Lipton passed away peacefully Monday morning at his New York City home. His wife, Kedekai Turner, tells TMZ James had been battling bladder cancer. She adds, "There are so many James Lipton stories, but I'm sure he would like to be remembered as someone who loved what he did and had tremendous respect for all the people he worked with. The man had a storied career in and around television and film. Of course, he served as the Dean Emeritus of the Actor Studio Drama School at Pace University in New York City for several years. And he was responsible for spearheading his famous talk show, Inside the Actor Studio. James interviewed actors, big and small, to pick their brains about the craft. It was filmed in front of a live studio full of student actors, some of whom got a chance to ask questions from time to time. He started the show in 1994 and finally retired in 2018 after 22 seasons. The program continues to this day, however, with other hosts. R.I.P. to a legend. And as a fun fact, in addition to all of the countless hours of quality programming he brought to us through the Inside the Actor Studio show, he also brought this amazing moment where probably about a decade ago, there was a joke that Louis C.K. did on a radio show. He made a joke about how the actors who would be on the Inside the Actor Studio would never actually end up becoming famous. And he specifically made the comparison where he said something like, you're never going to see an actor asking like Sean Penn a question and then like 5 years later, they end up becoming a movie star. And then somebody was able to track down and found a clip of Sean Penn on Inside the Actor Studio. And they cut to the audience for questions. And one of the actors who asked Sean Penn a question was a young Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, with great hair.
Oh, fantastic hair.
Yeah.
This has been Nostalgicast. Thank you for listening. If you like the show and you haven't already, please subscribe. If you have a friend who you think would like the show, share this with them. If you want to follow more about our exploits as a podcast or see the nostalgic content we post on a daily basis, you can go to our Facebook page, the official Nostalgia Facebook page. You can also join our Facebook group, the official Nostalgia Facebook group. You can search them by just searching Nostalgia on Facebook and in the group section. You can also follow us on Instagram @Nostalgia. You can tweet us @the Nostalgicast. If you have a question or any kind of statement or remark that you'd like to make and possibly be read on the show, you can email us at nostalgicastpod@gmail.com. If you want to support us in a more monetary way, you can become a supporter. Go to our Facebook page. At the top, there's a button that says Become a Supporter. Click that for $4.99 a month. Not only do you support the show, but you can also get access to exclusive bonus content, whether it's bonus episodes or bonus videos. Thank you for listening.